Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some sexy WARNO action. And as we went through Division 1 yesterday, it's now time to go to the contenders here, to the guys that want to be there again. And only one of these two here will be there in Division 1 next season. One of them might be able to return with Medinator here on the right side. One of them might preach there in for the first time with the clearly not MJ player over here. As they're coming in with 4th Division versus 1st UK Armored. And this is a pretty sexy matchup, not gonna lie. This should be a really fun one. Heavy armor on Kreide. And yeah, I'm also joined by a person returning from the brink of death. Welcome back, Lorite.
Hello. I was on the brink of death through like a single night, and the rest of that was recuperation. I have been invigorated by the spirit of democracy, and I have now fully healed. And very interested in casting here this seemingly obvious Medi Cheese helicopter play going against one of the most standardly reliable strategies and decks in the game right now, which is the 4th Dutch Recon mech opener. Especially powerful on Kreide. And we have seen First UK get really hard played recently in the league, and people have been kind of changing their minds to it. The minuscule seeming price changes for the challengers do actually have a lot of relevance in the end on how many you can get of them, and the strength of the First UK, here seeing the forward deploying Rover Milan ATGM trucks, the fast helicopters, as well as pretty powerful recon units, are currently going to be shown by Medi. But how do you think the First UK is going to follow this? I mean, this is obviously an all-in, like it's going everywhere at the same time, relying on the fact that the KCT Wegener's are not that powerful at fighting, and with the Hell Arms to take out the M113 CNV recon vehicles of the Dutch. But
Yeah.
how is the first? But how's the first going to follow that? Are they going to start sending in chieftains against Leopard 2s? That's not going to work.
I think it's just gonna be a train of warrior appliques. I think that's what, like, I would be lying if I would say I know what goes on in Medi's brain. We have seen him here since season 0, since the first Mono League, and even in tournaments beforehand. Medi always is a Med lad, and we never quite can predict what kind of crazy strategy he's coming up with. I believe this rush will be followed up by a lot of warrior appliques, though. Like, he's like, I can't beat the big tank with my big tanks. The Leo 2A4 is just better, but who needs to play in Armored Division with tanks anyways, right? Like, that's just the name. Why don't just play it like a light division with some light vehicles that have good ATGMs? And you have Milan 2s on those warrior appliques, so why not just go all out on that? And I feel like that will be the follow-up after we have this pretty crazy opener here. But I might be totally wrong, because nobody can predict Medic.
Yeah, maybe the idea here is that we're seeing reasonably cheap units getting bought in numbers. We're seeing the Hellarm AH1s, the one with only the standard 16 penetration tow. So I think it's pretty clear that this is going to be about sniping off the recon vehicles. Maybe the point here is to get a bunch of recon and ATGMs out there to just gain ground and then try to follow up with airstrikes and trying to keep the leopards down with your superior recon advantage, and by sending up all of these low AT armed scouts to occupy the places. Like, maybe because 4th Dutch is really about mobility. It's it has these mobile and powerful units that can gain it a lot of map control, especially with the recon being so cheap. And if you manage to wrestle that away and you force them to play more passively, maybe that could be a place where First UK, especially with the Warrior Milans, could fortify the ground quite well. But with Medi, like, actually, who knows? Because it could be genius, it could be very well practiced, or it just could be something that he came up on the spot. Let's make a theme here.
Yeah, we have some Rover Milans going around up to the top. And then on the other side, we have a really, really classic opener here out of MJ Player. We have the classic Go for Bravo that we have seen a lot of lately. And that makes the most sense. Like, it's usually the hardest point to get back into later. So going for it early makes sense. And Medi is just going to ignore that kind of thing. He's just going to go everywhere. Everything, everywhere,
Yeah,
all at once. It made a good movie. Why shouldn't it make a good strategy for WARNO?
yeah. The MJ player here is playing like about as standard as it is possible. Significant recon coverage, nothing to go up top, but some ATGMs to hold the middle to support the recon, give them some teeth, and then the actual attack goes to Bravo with significant like forward deployment component. This is about as standard as you can play. Bravo being so difficult to secure in the late game is just worth contesting early on, and the parts up north of the map are very easy to contest later on because the terrain is such that you can move and deploy easily.
Yeah, the scouts here trying to get through, not really working out for them. KCT Vercanners being under fire, the Lynxes getting shredded in decent numbers already as well. Medi keeps the Hell Arms in the middle, has some rovers in gnarly spots. The MR13 is actually trying to push into the lower 80s. That's not a good strategy. Lower 80 can one-shot them easily. Gets one killed there. But yeah, Medi with the northern part, that's I think the really interesting one. If he can cut off Alpha and Charlie, if he can shut that down, that would be big. But obviously there is a good amount of power there with the YPR and the MR13 on the blue side to stop that. Mind you, the Scimitars in the south, they still go through. Like, this is Medi. He doesn't shy away from taking bad engagements. He just wants to keep the enemy busy and maybe get them off foot. We have seen Medi winning games with being 3,000, 4,000 points behind in kills. That's not what Medi plays. Medi is here for the points. He doesn't care about his units, and he doesn't care about your units either.
Yeah, the cheetahs that will get in the middle here can probably get close enough to be a huge problem with against the Hell Arms, but these are the cheap 50-point Hell Arms. So there actually could be a slight overinvestment into there is now 4 cheetahs on board. Cheetahs are powerful, and having the numbers gives you a ability to kill enemy fighter bombers as well. But you can't really push them. They're not really the thing to have around when your enemy has recon and rover Milans. And even the scimitars will provide a nice, good optics against these vehicles. And now, oh yeah, no, the Pratt has to waste the smoke against the scimitar. And scimitar of Medi in the middle actually pushing maybe slightly too far. So far, reinforcements for Medi are warrior appliques, and they're going into the middle. I think we could see one of the first middle battles that I remember casting on this map. This is an area that is never pushed. What the MJ player is trying to push here with the momentum advantage and try to take the middle off, kind of counterattack, counter rush, and abuse the fact that Medi does not have the fundamentals out with this all-in attack, and yeah, these appliques will have to contest all of this, and reinforcements here are coming with the Gazelles as well as extra tanks for MJ player. But yeah, this engagement here most likely I think will go to MJ player.
Verbal Milando getting some snipes there between Alpha and Charlie. Getting an MR13 already, is going for the cheetah now, so that's some nice pickups there. Doesn't quite get the kill. The tractor up here, smoking off twice, but still not being retreated far enough by Medi. Having some more rovers, having some more gazelles, and having 3 warrior appliques, and those, as I said, Milan 2s, they can harm them. And the Leo 2A4B only has 16 frontal armor, so it takes a good amount of damage there. MR13 gets traded versus rover. We see a lot of red units dying, but most of them are irrelevant. Gazelle rockets are dirt cheap. They only cost you 20 points. Losing them doesn't really matter. And we now see units like cheetahs, like Leo 2s, under danger here of going down. YPRs, not cheap either, with 75 points. And this, it's not going amazing for Medi, but it still might be winnable here. Getting the Leopard.
The Leopard 2!
Yeah,
the Leopard 2 goes down.
The YPR will go down as well, and then Bravo has little defense left here. Like, MJ player was so focused on getting Charlie back, because obviously that's a painful spot and you don't want to lose it, that he then, with his lack of reinforcement into Bravo, overextended there, and Medi lets you pay for that. Like, that's what Medi is so good at. Luring you into overextending because you think you got all his units, because he is so reckless with them, and you get so many kills in some points, but then he comes around and kills just as many of your units, and then you are caught out because he's ready for that mud fight and you are not.
Yeah, the kind of careful preparation, as we can see with MJ Blair, who is playing very, very like standard competent by pre-buying the Leopard 2 into the middle, knowing that now that there is a Leopard 2, this formation is kind of complete with the Recon Helis and the Cheetahs. Yeah, doing that buying, that he was buying a TOW 2 and an Nighthawk at the same time as the as just a tiny amount of micro could have managed to save those vehicles. And yeah, I do admit it was very surprising to have those up leaks there. I was surprised when I saw this buy getting made, but it was immediately vindicated.
Yeah, BO105s goes down, and yeah, I predicted a pure Bleak spam. It's not what we get here. We actually get chieftains and challengers on the battlefield. So the Bleak printer has stopped a bit. Still one more coming in. It's a fantastic unit. It's maybe the best IFV in the game right now. For sure, one of the units that carries the first UK at the moment. And yeah, TOW 2 on the other side here, getting a kill on one of them. But at the same time, CVs go down, some more transports go down. So Medi is getting the kills back, loses his chieftain to bail out against the Panzer Infantry. That was completely unnecessary, but that's Medi. As I said, he doesn't care about his units as long as he gets some kills against you. And Challenger, double Challenger pushing into the middle, that outclasses a single Leo 2A4B. So this is getting scary here for MJ Player.
Yeah, there is no recon for Medi to actually push up the zone unless there is a Gazelle bot, but that would be, of course, under Cheetah fire. The KCT Werkeners will make sure that the Leopard 2 will get to fire first, basically, and will also keep its sight, even if the Leopard has to run behind the building. And Medi seems to be trying to move southwest to actually secure Bravo. The infantry fights that can be had here in the crossroads between Bravo and Charlie are actually better for UK, just for the fact that British infantry have way better infantry weapons, and the Panzer Infantry are supported by the YPRs, which do amazing damage, but the YPRs don't have ATGMs. The YPR unit is 45 points, and the up league is 60, which is a very... Oh no, the cluster got killed!
The cluster got the Leo though, and there is no Leo on the battlefield anymore. There's two challengers now, and there are no tanks left here for MJ Player. What do you do against the challengers? You need to get crit hit with your TOW 2s. The YPR, there's one YPR and one TOW 2, and that's about it when it comes to units that can actually kill the challenger. So Medi could just push for the next 2 minutes, 3 minutes until there's a potential for another Leo arriving on the front line. Obviously, he doesn't quite know what we know, but there are just no tanks left here now. MJ Player got into a grind fight with a division that is not amazing at those grind fights. Like, there are cost-efficient units in the Dutch, but on average, they're still somewhat expensive and they need their combined arms. And that combined arms is just non-existent anymore. Whilst the other side can just print warrior pleaks with infantry inside and has combined arms on the ready already.
Yeah, what I was saying is that the warrior applique is only 15 points more expensive than the YPR, and the YPR has half the armor and no ATGM. The applique will win in practice. And now the challengers are getting out there. There's only a single TOW 2 launcher that just got struck by a veteran challenger. This unit combination here, without the Leopard 2 completely falling apart. And the Leopard 2 is getting in there, but if the Leopard is going to have to lonesome fight against a challenger and multiple Milan 2 launchers, the armor just won't hold. The Leopard will get either too much damage or stun damage to actually win this. The Leopards also need to be acting as a part of a formation.
Yeah,
and the cluster might actually manage this, taking out one of the challengers.
It gets one kill. The challengers' 18 frontal armor are a bit of an issue though. Only TOW 2s and Leo 2s actually can harm it. Even the infantry AT don't really do much there. The airplay of MJ Player is good, but it led to like the amount of investments into F-16 is one of the reasons why there's such a lack of unit and combined arms on the ground right now. And as Medi just didn't care. Like, he took the losses like a real man and didn't suffer, didn't care about his units. Really perfect show of a Soviet general there, and yeah, he gets through with it.
Yeah, here we can see the YPR exchanging gunfire with the Warrior Applique. Warrior Applique has 1 less damage, but it has 2 more armor. And now Challenger finishing off the last YPR. The Leopard 2 is pushing out.
Yeah. The annoying toe
immediately back into smoke.
Yeah, the
it's
Lynx,
a really bad situation for MJ.
The Lynx doesn't do any damage, but it stuns you, and that's the issue here. Like, it's a super cheap helicopter with 8 missiles that just keep on coming and keep your Leo super combat inefficient, as it's now at low cohesion, whilst the Challenger is getting back its cohesion. And sure, each hit only does 1 damage with its 16 pen, but eventually you will have trouble there. And if you get side-shotted, it might be even more. Challenger now trying to follow up on that Leo that is stunned once more, and MJ player is not getting back into Bravo, and Medi already setting up to get back into Charlie at the same time. The North is completely ignored, as both sides only have the points for the South here. F-16 gets the kill there on the helicopter, but Leo 2A4 goes down. The Charlie got the kill, and that is all that matters here. If there's no Leo on the mat, 4th can't win this game.
Yeah, meanwhile, as all of this fighting has been going around Bravo, Medi has just secured Golf up north. Doesn't even have any units out there, just the helicopter recon and assaults to capture it. This means that right now Medi is on the defensive. I think what we can see from MJ Blair's play is that they're constantly trying to make the formation that you have with the Dutch 4E, where you have the Leopard, some fire support, Cheetah, and some reliable recon. The Medi opener, the helicopter all-in, actually managed to do what it was supposed to, which was remove the early game aggro formational advantage that the Dutch have when you open with all the units basically on board already. Now it is just constantly, MJ is just trying to make the same thing happen due to losing it all against the overextension counterattack in the middle.
Meanwhile, Challenger here trying to hit the Panzer Grenadiers. F-16's still coming around, but by now the AA here is good enough that Medi takes trades, and that's the moment where this all falls apart, as that was the one advantage that MJ player had, the air tap, and that could maybe still save this. But if you start losing your planes in trades that are not great, then you start to get into real trouble. You need to just get value out of them as MJ player right now. That's the only investment that you still have an advantage in, and everything else on the battlefield here is falling apart because of all those points invested into air. But yeah, Medi just went for more ground units and said eventually you will have none left on the battlefield if we trade 1-to-1 on the ground, and you invested 500, 600, 700 points into air. Then I will just finally have some combined arms and you have nothing to kill a Challenger 2. And then a single Challenger 2 can push through all of the units. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, there's no ground recon infantry, for instance, which could give some of the Pratt or Leopards basically a first shot advantage, because the Challengers are, and the Chieftain especially, they are pretty far up here. Like, you could have a recon infantry here, and that could allow for the artillery or the Pratt to take a safe shot. Now, artillery is firing here and doing some very nice damage against the Chieftain, but even then, there is a defense in depth in form of 1, 2, 3, 4 appliques. There is a unsupplied Power Rover Milan, a bunch of Hell Arms out here. This is not really possible to attack in the way that MJ Blair wants to. It's a very tight corridor. Every time you move up, the enemy is going to have a second wave of weapons that damage you. You can't attrition it because you don't have the numbers, and your units are not powerful enough because the 16 armor won't protect you against a 24 pen missile. This is like such a misinvestment to try to keep on contesting this. The game is absolutely not over. There are places here to push, but it's just very difficult for the Dutch to recommit to an attack.
Yeah, the Dutch have the Leo 2 advantage in that they can run away with them. And that's why we saw so many games lately where that was only 1 or 2 Leos dying in a 40-minute game. Sometimes even none of them, because they can smoke off, run out, get repaired. But what Medi achieved here was getting MJ player to overextend so far in positions with Leos that they couldn't disengage out of it anymore, and they got killed 2-3 times, and then they don't quite get the critical mass of Leos that wins you the games with fourth. Like, so many times in the last couple of days we have seen Leo 2 plop just getting out of hand, and when you get 3, 4, 5 of them around, nothing can stop them. But that's not what we got here. It's only 2 right now. It never was more than 2 at the same time on the battlefield, and even those 2 here right now have to be split up, so the critical mass is not there. Even the cheetah in the middle here is in a vulnerable position where the armored rifles could push up to it, and Medi is getting into a pretty scary spot here.
Yeah, the reinforcements are 3 Panzerinfanterie, which are going in to deploy at the crossroads, but they are going into the firing range of the armored rifles, though the armored rifles could be spotted here in just a second. The MJ player seems to be wanting to contest this on basically, I hate to say like a grind fight, but basically contesting them on their own terms, fighting the strongest part of Medi's formation and not trying to maneuver out from the position
Oh
that he has
no.
put himself in.
Oh no! That Leo 2 is in such a bad spot. It really shouldn't be there. And it doesn't get even a smoke off. Leo 2 goes down again. MJ player is in a world of trouble here. And yeah, there we go. GG is called. And Medi did it Medi style again. And yeah, in Division 1, it always wasn't quite good enough. But it seems to be always just quite good enough for Division 2 here. Is Medi just cursed to be the guy who keeps people off Division 1? Is that what's going to happen? We'll see.
I mean, Medi is like an actual skill check, because we saw MJ player play pitch perfect 4E ranked meta aggro armor play, and then facing this wacky nonsense of the helicopter recon rush, they didn't really have the game sense. They didn't have the experience there. They didn't realize how far was too far, and then there was a massive overextension. And then that's it. The MJ player is permanently locked into a bad engagement, and they can't get themselves out of it. This is an actual skill check, and I don't know how to fix that other than, of course, not overextending. But we saw the weakness of playing like a very well drilled and experienced tactic that is strong on this map. You don't see you don't see the recon heli rush often enough to actually learn to play against it.
Yeah, you have to be on your foot. You have to be just going by your game sense when you play against Medi. You can't rely on the beaten path. You have to just follow him into the jungle and fight him there. But he loves that fight, so it's tough to beat him there. But yeah, just go for reliable trades, stay away from overextending, and just let him bleed out by himself. Like, Medi won't stop. If you let him run into you, he will keep running into you. And we'll see if MJ player can learn this throughout this session, or if Medi will just beat him off here and get on to the semifinals. And yeah, quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with game number 2, so don't you run away. Game number 2 between Medi and the MJ player over here, and this is on one of my favorite maps as of late. We are back on Mount River, and this is the place where we saw one of the most infamous Medi plays in the past that then in the end I believe didn't quite work out, where he just moved around the Leonid Olga street and just ignored the whole southern part of the map and just moved into the enemy rear. He was playing on the other side though back then, as MJ player is on the side Medi played then, and I wonder if we will see something similarly shenanigans level this time around, as Medi is playing Berliner Gruppierung versus its brother division with the 6 mod Ostralki. Back in the day, this was 1 division, now it's 2, and they're gonna fight here over a really beautiful map with Mount River. So, which one of the old Berliner divisions is the better one for this map?
I would like to say that sixth, having the highest in artillery as well as the helicopters, the helicopter opener, helicopters being able to quickly move over the, how would you say, the terrain, the road structure here. You can quickly getting reinforcements on this quite small map with your Lufturmjägers. You get the
The gang is
Mi2
back
urns
together.
as elites, which are very, very effective in this current meta of recon heli throwaway openers. They have the 5 points more expensive, armed with 4 light machine guns or medium machine guns, the Adder recon helicopter. So that's a fits in with the meta a little bit. And for the few close range fights, they have these Spetsgruppe A units as a reliable close quarter fighters. But what KDA has is just way more fitting into surviving the long fights. KDA also has artillery, so the artillery
It's not
advantage is
KDA
not
though.
really that.
It's Berliner.
Hmm?
It's Berliner.
Oh wait! Oh yeah, it's goddamn Berlin. Yeah, I saw the KDA troops.
Yeah.
Okay, damn. Yeah. In that case, yeah, I think the T-55s will perform quite well on this map. I think the Medi will play with them en masse as it always does. The Wachschützen and the KDA and the standard Motorschützen are very powerful infantry, and they will deploy way faster than the stuff, and they will also perform better in general, I think, than the 6th infantry tab.
Yeah.
So sixth basically needs to combine arms around very effective and numerous units on close ranges, and artillery and helicopters will be very relevant here, I think.
And Medi, yeah, nobody played the T-34 before outside of Medi, so this buff, them going down to 30 points, is the perfect Medi buff in my eyes. And yeah, here they come, T-34s at 30 points. This is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to what he can achieve with them now that they're actually potentially cost efficient. At 35 points, they weren't really, but he just could still make them work a decent bit by just spamming them out. He also likes units like the ZU-23s here, so we will see those as well. And yeah, Berliner, the Wachschützen are pretty strong infantry. And then you have a lot of those Modschützens that are pretty versatile as well, but Medi instead going for Militärstreifen and KDA Schützen. It's going to be interesting to see where all those units will go. And I'm surprised it's such a split formation between half of them going up north, half of them going up south. I would have expected a bit more focus out of Medi. But hey, I mean, it worked out last game with the split everywhere. Why shouldn't it this time around? And on the other side, it's a pretty split in the middle setup as well. Similar amounts of Modschützen, similar amount of helicopters on both sides. So it seems to be a pretty standard opener here on both sides.
Yeah, MJ player contesting Anna and Paul is not really that sensible at this opener because they need to have the firepower up before they can actually start grinding against Berliner. But taking the middle with the helicopters will be easy peasy, and that's a good 2-point zone immediately to put your enemy on the offensive. Now, Medi is going to try to achieve fire superiority at the northern T crossroad. How would you even call that, T-road? And having just the kind of KDA military strife and infantry units out there, they will be able to hold, but I doubt they'll be able to do any kind of pushing as long as the helicopters are out here to the middle. And there is a reason why people don't play the T-34. It's because the T-34 is bad. And right now the T-34 is going to face 30 and 40 point BMP-1s, and the BMP-1s will kill it.
Yes, but T-34s are cheap, and they are better fire support. They have 2 MGs, they have a decent rate of fire main gun, and we have an interesting air spam here.
Rate of fire? What do you mean? It's like the slowest gun in the game. The BMP-1 has 50% more rate of fire in its gun.
And we have MiG-21s versus MiG-21s here, and one of them has 2 missiles, one of them has only 1, plus there's ground support with some cubes here on Medi's side. Medi trying to bait the MiG-21s of MJ player in here, and they might actually fall for that. On the other side, no book out actually, it only comes out now, and the MiG-21s of Medi will win this duel most likely. Oh no, what? Medi, what are you doing?
Oh no!
Why are you turning away there? That's the worst turn ever! Oh, this is such a Medi move. And it might still work out if he baits him into the coop.
The coup is not firing.
The coop is not
Coup
firing.
move order.
Ah, it's a classic
my-
Medi moment.
Jesus, Mary Joseph. Seriously, coup was not firing. It's on a move order. No. And the T-34s are facing the rocket.
And he still wins the duel. He still gets the first kill on the MiG-21. And he might most likely get the second one here as well, as he just has a lot of missiles on these MiG-21s. As a MJ player overextending there, got baited with a move that really shouldn't have worked. At the same time, T-34s getting shredded here, like Swiss cheese, by a lot of rocket fire. KDA Schützen died there up the north as well, because Medi was busy with that bad air micro. And now gets his bombers out, which I'm not even sure they hit. Okay, they seem to hit. Yeah, they get the Luftsturmjäger. Me Too Yearns in the north going down as well, and with all of that, it starts to be actually decently cost efficient here. Like, those T-34s are cheaper than Me Too Yearns.
Yeah, the Urns managed to snipe down a flak gun, so currently the Kub is the only anti-air here for the second. MiG-21 manages to dive down. Now there is 2 Spec Ops squads as well as 3 Motorschützen moving in, and basically nothing can realistically stop them here. There needs to be some kind of helicopter strike, something to keep the enemy from getting into the zone. Getting the enemy out of the zone is going to be horrid. The Berliner is way better at holding zones than taking them, and with their KDA and all. And now that the book is already taking out MiG-21s, this means that all of the cheap planes, all the L-39s, they are not going to be anywhere near as useful until some kind of something is done about the books. And I don't think Berliner has siege. Maybe they do.
No,
I don't think.
No, they don't.
Why would they
think
have?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, ZU coming in. The books, I think Medi will try to send something after them, but it's gonna be units on the ground trying to hunt them down. I'm pretty sure we will see that. Meanwhile, it's more T-34s for now with Malyutkas. That's the combo he settled on. Well, it's on the other side. Yeah, BMP-1s with Malyutkas and a gun trying to get some kills. Coop was the most frontal unit, actually gets sniped there. It's a Medi game, all right. And I feel like MJ player has a better handle on it this time around. Going forward there now with forces is still potentially overextending there. Has to be careful to not just run into all the artillery before the Book is around. Book is coming around now, but it's already down to only 1 missile, so airplanes could still get the kills here. L-39 coming around, Book doesn't find the kill, and now it's out of ammo. And now Medi's air spam can continue. Spetsnaz Trooper just getting annihilated there. The L-39s can keep on coming.
Yeah, MJ players Spetsgruppe and Asvedka managed to take out the BTR that was doing force recon for Medi. This means Medi has now basically perfect information about what is going on here and is applying a push with 3 infantry units, 4 infantry units now, and a T-34. And a KPV car currently exchanging fire, so Medi should micro a little bit further down the south to prevent this. But otherwise, South will demand a micro action from MJ Blair. Blair has a T-80 out here as well as reinforcements coming in, and but the T-80 will require micro, and the micro will be away from whatever's going to happening around the northeast.
T-55s now coming in with 1 vet, the classic way to bring a T-55. I was surprised we didn't see a single one mixed in. Like, that's usually how I use the T-34s. I mix them in with T-55s. And Medi is not a one for mixing tank formations, so his ones are either full on T-55s or fully on T-34s. He can't be asked to manage anything in between. And KDA Schützen here pushing it in the south with the Wachschützen RPO, but the Spetsgruppe on the CQC, they are holding off quite nicely, and that is a problem here for Medi. I don't believe he is going to get through to Boris, and that's the plan here. And without Boris, I don't think his plan is working out here. He's getting to run into a brick wall soon if he doesn't take care of it. And those L-39s not hitting the right building either in the north. Those are wasteful bombing runs that you just can't afford to waste right now.
Yeah, the only reason that the plane wasn't shot down out of the sky is because the Book has no supply currently. The engagement down south with 3 infantry squads deploying correctly far enough away, more units are being bought here, and the T-80 has perfect, uncontested fire superiority. This is Medi needs to do something wacky here to actually make this work. The Maybe the T-80 could overextend, and maybe then after like 18 shots to the side armor by T-34s, it might go down. But otherwise, this technological advantage here, the lack of ATGMs, the lack of Rapiras, or anything that could actually counter this, means all of the infantry, even more T-34s are coming in here. Come on, that is not the way to go, Medi. You need something else.
And Maddie using the bombing runs just randomly because there was no recon in the north, so just picking out random buildings and bombing them, missing 2 out of 3 times. Finally getting the Spätzgruppe there, but that's not quite the hits you want. He could have wiped out all the infantry if he would have had recon to actually spot it. Instead, 2 of the Mordschützen still around, and he has to push a bit deeper to actually get there. T-55's there helping out with the first one, and Medi keeps on pushing. Medi brings around some more units here directly through the center, but the T-80B there, he has nothing to deal with that, and that's going to be a problem, especially as the south is about to collapse there. Only T-34s around, and they can't do anything about it. They don't have heat rounds, so they don't deal any damage to the T-80 unless they get a rear or side shot, and that's not going to be likely.
Yeah, I really appreciate Medi playing to theme and not allowing the requirements of the match to force his hand in playing whatever the way he wants to. But like this is not this is not in any way realistic. The unit combinations that are being bought here are like a player buying his favorite units, not the player reacting to what the enemy has here. Stuff is not coming in really a sensible fashion, and it's not coming in to give or achieve any kind of tempo. There are currently the BMP-1 PGs have grenade launchers. They have the overpowered grenade launchers in addition to the rest of their weaponry. And they are also completely capable of soloing a bunch of T-34s if they want to. So the large infantry squads, gone. Light fire support, gone. Completely countered by the BMP-1.
Yeah, T-55A now pushing through the north. The Malyutka units pushing down the Tunguska. The push in the north of Medi might work, but I'm really worried about the southern part. And now with the books being reloaded, and there's 3 books on the battlefield, L-39s are not going to cut it. You can't play L-39s on this map when there's 3 books on it. Like, the L-39 actually getting to dodge 3 of those, that's pretty surprising. But it's going to get down here eventually. L-39 trying to get a bombing run here again. Getting hit against the BMP. More BMP hits going through. I have to report to Eugen that the L-39 actually shoots flares when it shouldn't, because it has 0% SEM and it doesn't have any flares in real life. But yeah, Medinator here getting pushed over.
Yeah, the T-34s are crumbling like wet toilet paper against every single enemy. No, they are not. They have not performed well against a single enemy unit here so far, and the combined arms of not even having to have the artillery here, just having the BMP-1s to act as grenade launcher support, has been enough here for MJ Blair to just completely outplay this. Medi is getting artillery now, and the artillery is targeting the T-80. But even then, if the artillery doesn't hit, and it didn't hit, 0 units here capable of fighting the T-80. Even the Wachschützen Aufklärer could technically get a side shot here, but like nothing has the penetration to even do damage. And there are finally T-55s are coming of 3. But that's just, I doubt that's going to be enough.
Yeah, we see a T-80 already bullying T-55s in the north. The Malyutka not really playing a massive role in those engagements either, so the T-80B just keeps on pushing forward here. Malyutkas will only deal a single frontal damage as well. So yes, they fire away on the T-80 now, and yes, they start to get some damage. Actually getting a crit there, so that T80 taking more damage than it should have. But Medi is still in trouble. Getting a kill on the CV in the north, getting a couple of good shots in, but what can you realistically do when the T80s... Oh, the T80 is actually showing side armor though. What is going on? That T80 shouldn't move like that.
Ooh.
What? MJ player, why? This is...
Maybe we'll just right-clicked it instead of G-clicking.
Yeah, this is giving Medi options now, maybe in the north. If the books fall there... Oh, one book moved to the south, okay. I thought there was two in the north, but yeah, only one in the north. But getting the kill on that one would be helpful. Gets a book in the middle, potentially with artillery, as it only starts moving now, and there should be one more round landing on it. Yes, gets a book in the center. That would leave only one book on the battlefield, and that might be the only books that are in the deck of MJ player, so the airplane might get unlocked again. Is Medi actually starting to do it here once more with this wacky play?
There is currently only a single recon unit at the... no, actually two recon units here. There's the Aufklärer BRM-1 and the Wachschützen Aufklärer. If the Wachschützen Aufklärer gets taken out, if something spots it and MJ player actually eliminates it, the whole attack of Medi will become blind. And then it kind of stops being realistic to continue, even with the BRM1. So this one, no, okay, the recon unit got spotted right now. So from now on, Medi needs to keep more actively pushing for recon, and the enemy has both stealth and fire superiority. They have the Rapira in a very good position to long-range counter any vehicles, and they have the T80 to actually achieve fire supremacy, so, to allow for the reinforcement infantry to come in, and also a Hyacinth getting in close, which will be able to destroy this concentrated infantry quite easily. Up north here, Medi's attack happening with T-34s, and the Motostrelki are actually in quite nice positions to allow for engagements once the enemy gets in close enough.
The T-34 is actually doing a good job there, though. Killing off a couple of BMPs, allowing the T-55s to push deeper. KDA now slowly pushing up as well. Malyutka getting involved, and this is the weakest part for MJ player in this game right now. If the Book falls, he is in a lot of trouble potentially to Air Force again. And Medi gets some T-55s ready up in the south as well. The T-80 there is still alive, and there's little that can really threaten it. T-34 goes down one shot, so the Hyacinth could work out long-term there pretty well. But until then, the northern push of Medi needs something to answer it. And there's only a single ATGM team right now. That's about it for MG player. I wish there would be a bit more investment from the red player, as otherwise this could become problematic.
Yeah, two planes actually coming, a cluster bomber going on top of the T-34 blob, and with the air defense being basically non-existent here, this is just 3 kills. Yeah, the rocket plane striking is the KDA Schützen, artillery doing some nice damage against the T-55, though surprisingly it did survive. The I think the Conquerors and the Moto Aufklärer could be just enough to hold this long enough.
Yeah, UAT's here.
Meanwhile,
engaging BRM. BRM finally some recon unit here for Medi again. That gives some good spotting. Medi could push the south if he can isolate the T-80. T-80 actually about to run out of ammo. I don't know when it was the last time that I saw a main battle tank run out of ammo, but it might get the case here. That would be kind of hilarious.
Yeah, now the T-64 is coming in here. Supplies have been constantly a problem for MJ player. Their books, the units have been on low supply. They have not had enough ATGMs, and now with the actually losing the ammo of T-80. I mean, just this unit has been used to just impose fire control, and with only T-34s getting sent for so long, there was just nothing to threaten it, so it could just sit still.
Malyutka trying to push forward. Mochitsen, BTR, and Medis slowly pushing a bit forward as well. The Mochitsen and the Luftsturmjägers here coming in good numbers, so MJ player setting up there. MiG-21 gets killed off by the Book. There is a MiG-21 rocket coming around, and The Books are still here to push back the MiG-21 at least, most likely even kill it. Yeah, there we go. Next MiG-21 goes down, so Medi losing all the advantages from the early game there now, and still needs to get deeper to actually get a tick online, as we don't have one just yet.
Yeah, the fire support, even if there has been a little bit of overinvestment from MJ Blair into winning this southern battle compared to defending the northern position, the southern battle here is going just very, very oppressingly towards MJ Blair, with no solutions coming in here against this combined arms.
Yeah, and we saw a cluster bomb just taking out 2 tanks and a HGM vehicle. So that is really hurting, and Medi doesn't have the AA setup due to losing the cubes early on to actually hold off against the aircraft, and that is starting to become a real issue here.
Yeah, the artillery for Medi hasn't been firing for some time. As I predicted, the few units, the recon units, the Motto Aufklärer, which get the extra recon unit stealth buff, have been able to survive there. And another cluster gets right as the attack comes. Doesn't get a perfect hit, but with a side shot from the RPG-18, actually stunning down the T-55s, forcing them to push a slightly bit further away. And with more Motoschützen here to hold these buildings, Medi's attack is still lacking steam, while the southern attack is going very well for MJ Blair. The hyacinth artillery constantly targeting even the less critical enemy units.
Yeah, T-55 going down. MiG-21 on the other side finally getting shut down as well. But yeah, MJ Blair with getting enough reinforcements into the north, most likely having enough in the center for backstep to come through from the north, as yes, it looks like a lot of tanks, but a decent amount of them are T-34s here, so blue side still has to be careful on how to approach it. We have the first Mehrfach-Raketenwerfer RM-70 on the battlefield, so that is nice, but the double cluster MiG-21 most likely will make that irrelevant here.
Excuse me, the what with the what now? RM-70? Oh yeah, here, yes. Is this the no, this is not a cluster or a napalm. This is a standard RM-70.
This is the standard one that got nerfed when they were 2 per card. There was a moment in time when the infantry was buffed and this thing was still 2 per card, where I think Berliner was actually in a pretty good spot, because you could just spam 4 of those onto the battlefield and on a map like this just flatten any bigger concentration of enemy forces whilst you send in your infantry to grind. But they got reduced to 1 per card, so you usually only get 1 or 2 of them, and they don't kill things efficiently enough when you have only 1 of them firing. So that is a big issue with the RM-70. Oh, cluster plane gets down. It gets a bomb still out though. Gets more kills here. At least gets finally killed off, but those cluster bombers have been pretty frustrating.
The RM-70 salvoing a completely empty position that did not realize that the artillery strike had already destroyed the Conkers, preparing to maybe a kind of a pincer move into the middle, but I doubt that the fire control of MJ Blair is going to allow that.
Yeah, KDA Schützen and Mod-Schützen pushing still through the north. There's finally some reinforcements there from MJ Blair. The fight is still a lot of losses on both sides here, so the front line a lot thinner than you usually would expect on this map, as both sides are losing units left, right, and center, but it still seems like the red side at least is holding on up to 1,300 points already, and another cluster plane comes in, and I don't see the solution for this right now.
Yeah, I think the Medi wasting all of those points early on to not have a like cheap and efficient front line to actually counter, like you have a single AT unit and you have some HE units, insisting on buying the bad unit combinations early on, allowing the enemy to get very crucial situational air supremacy, letting the enemy just fire a full 30 shots of a main battle tank gun at your front line, and the lack of recon after losing the single Aufklärer. The unit combinations for Medi, I mean, the fact that Medi is still in this game show that he's not bad at this game, But this map, the strategy that's been applied here has been more of a hindrance, I think, because with some very, again, reliable and versatile and combined arms play, buying the units here uh, in a pretty reasonable order and only attacking when sensible. MJ player has been punching above their weight and been able to. There's nothing has been threatening the middle point, which is the most important one here.
But Medi has achieved a kill onto another book here, and that might be what allows the air spam to continue. There is only a single book now in the south that can't cover the whole map, and if it moves into a obvious position, then the ARM 70 will most likely come for it. So Medi could start to air spam here potentially. MiG-21 cluster not finding the shot either, and yeah, we have a good amount of T-55As coming in that might be able to hold this zone for a while, but until then, the question is, can the air come back into this? ARM 70 focus on the book, artillery focus on the book. Is that an option here, or is it already too late for that? As it's only 6 more minutes till victory here for MJ.
Yeah, the fact that Medi is buying Malyutkas up top and there is no infantry reinforcements, finally infantry reinforcement getting bought to hold the south. 2 Luftsturmjägers are going to do a very close drop and will likely actually survive getting hit by the flak. So the infantry will go in there, and even if there is no leader immediately, capturing the zone way before the infantry reinforcements get there will basically seal this for MJ player, I think. The Medi can keep up the attack up north, and we're now seeing the big attack diving down south.
Yeah, BMP-1 PG there, trying to hold, get pushed out of the way, and Medi is coming in here. There's only one TADB on the battlefield. If Medi can't find a way on killing this cheap T-55A spam actually has a potential of working out.
I mean, there's also a T-64, so that's double the amount of tanks. Luftsturmjäger getting rerouted up north.
Cluster! Oh! It wasn't perfect. The T-55s actually survived, but there is still a Rapira. Mi-8 went down beforehand as well. So Medi could get through there, but has to be careful of the T-80 and the Rapira there. And meanwhile in the south, MJ player about to break the Wachschützen, so yeah, Medi still has to be careful. Gets the center zone now, will most likely get a +2 with it, but oh no, cluster MiG-21 already coming along, doesn't get stopped. So another T-54 bites the dust. Meanwhile, Coop gets the kill in retaliation at least, but this is an interesting speed change here.
Yeah, I still think that with the trades happening down south, this will go for MJ player. And but the rocket helicopters, if they're played well enough, supported by the Shilka here, they could actually punch through the Leonid and achieve even a +4.
Yeah. And we see a CV coming in for MG player. This is potentially stopping the tick again. And Medi needs the tick. Needs to either get for the north or for the complete south to get this around. But is also pretty thin still in the middle. Losses here just maybe a bit too high for Medi here. As Medi is desperately trying to get something done here.
Yeah, the Motorschützen BTR reinforcements never got to the point. The Luftsturmjägers were faster, and T-64 here is applying fire control, so the fight is easily won. There's only a single 2 infantry squads. One of them half destroyed KDA shoots, and another one is a military Streifen, and that I doubt that is enough to push to Leonid. It's gonna take too long anyways, while the trading happens down south. I think before Medi finds out how little there is defending Leonid, I think the game's gonna be over.
Yes, we see more 100mm anti-tank guns, some more T-34 and T-55s coming in here, and this game is not quite done yet, but Medi needs to get some points done here, and as I said, the southern situation not great, the artillery not even being reloaded right now, artillery firing direct shots into a BMP-1. That's not something you see every day. It has only 30% accuracy and only 5 rounds for it, so not really something it excels at. Well, it's more Murchison trying to come around here. Ural at the same time under fire, and it seems like Medi might need a really, really big Medi kind of push, just trying to go for one space, maybe throwing airplanes into it as well, and just trying to spread out after air. But even then, 1,600 points and 13 minutes on this map, it's not easy.
Yeah, 4 infantry squads of Pulamechiki getting ordered to counterattack the middle, which is basically going to be taken with a T-64 leader anyways, as long as the single Motorschützen gets dealt with. And yeah, MJ player has achieved +2 now, and this is Medi really is lacking. Okay, there's a napalm bomber. Maybe this could do something. Napalm is notoriously bad in this game, but it can actually kill tanks.
Yeah, gets good damage there, and the T-64 BVK is burning away. SPW tries to get in. UATS is pretty low as well. SPW should be able to finish that off as well, and after that, there are no CVs on this battlefield anymore. There's actually a pretty thin line in the south, but just about enough to get through. CV gets sniped here before it can get the full capture. Medi needs to get a CV in there now. That's not going to be easy. It doesn't really have the force to do it in the south either. Doesn't really have the cash for reinforcements. And all of that is a big problem here for the player in blue.
Yeah, the MJ player, just better unit combinations. It's not even a better division, just better unit combination. The usage of Rapiras, there are Rapiras in Medi's deck. Having the Rapiras in the middle could have been a huge counter against the T80. Could have forced the T80 to act further back, would have given more ground for Medi to buy reinforcements and apply for map control pretty cheaply. But no, instead there were singular solo blocks of 3 infantry units or 4 T-34s, and this combined arms was never built. And this is why armies are led by engineers, not poets.
Yeah, SC-22 here coming around now with AT weapons. There is only one book and it's out of ammo, so air spam would be viable right now, but Medi might not quite realize that and didn't really invest into it lately, and it's only 2-minute 45, so there is something that Medi needs to do about this. It's just shared to say what exactly it is. AT guns in the middle, actually holding off the BMPs quite nicely. SPW there helping out. One of them goes down. Infantry finally gets unloaded, but the T-55s are moving towards the center as well. ATGM of the SC-22 finds a kill there as well, and this time around, it looks pretty decent trade-wise for Medinator. T6.
Another T-34 attack happening down south, but gonna go straight into the Metis.
Yeah, SC-22 AT trying to find value. Not able to find it, but did keep the enemy scared. Invest into more of the A pieces. So this is going to be interesting to see if Medi can set up a last minute push here and if that has any chance of working. 1 minute 40 here now. The napalm bomber comes around again. Hits something that's already dead, and it's still a better trade here now for Medi, but it's not quite enough here.
Yeah, with less than 10 minutes left, you would need a +5 starting immediately to actually beat MJ Blair's score here. So it's pretty set, as well as numerous leader and T-64 reinforcements coming in here. Kind of doesn't seem like an immediate breakthrough is happening.
Yeah, there is so little left here for Medi in the south. Is trying to actually smoke off to get an SPW in there. Napalm goes down to Coop this time. It finally got reloaded. Meanwhile, the northern part is not really defended here, so the Leonid could be captured. Would need a CV still, but I feel like there should be a slightly bigger push towards that area.
Yeah, there needs to be a breakthrough to Boris. Mathematically, that's the only way here.
Boris would be the hotspot.
Southwest.
And then Tunguska coming up. Oh. Conqueror's coming up. Yeah, Boris is the sweet spot here. That's what you want to get. Khirsent loading up against the SPW potentially here. T55. Oh no, it's pushing way too deep. Rapira and T64 is most likely going to get it there. Napalm burns away a bit on the T64, but the T55 can't take that engagement. Napalm goes down. And yeah, Medi just doesn't have the meat anymore. Like, you have so much meat in that deck that running out of meaty forces, it's quite hard to achieve, but Medi made it work. Napalm actually hunting down the final book. That would be great if the game would go on for another 15 minutes, but it's about to end in a couple of seconds here. The BM1KR here in the middle is a nuisance. The SU-22AT doesn't kill the T-80, and the BM1K here in the middle is about to get the final points that are necessary, and even if the game goes on till the end, making 2,000 points up here, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I blame it on the T-35. Did you know, Proto? Actually, let's because we'll see where this game is going right now. So a little PSA to all of my military history pals out there in the chat and the community. If you haven't, go watch the channel Laserpig video about the T-34. The T-34 was garbage. All of the mythology that has been built around it was just complete Soviet revisionism and just straight up like a remainer of Stalinism in our culture. Like the T-34 was nothing like what you, as a casual history fan, will think about it. And the actual like AK-47 of tanks, the actual tank that the large part, I think, why the T-34 mythos was built was because the T-55 was that tank. The T-55 is the AK-47 of armored fighting vehicles. It can be repaired like a million times over. But reject propaganda, even from history. Reject the fact that the T-34 is anything except a garbage and a bad product of a bad political system and a bad economy.
And T-55 is a good product of the same issues.
Well, yeah, but the Ruchev years, that's a different thing. And also like the economy that managed to get all steelworking factories from the east. But I digress. So far, I think our commentary kind of beats this, explained this quite well. The Medi is trying to win by not applying standard unit formations and standard combined arms. And this is a weakness. The game wasn't close, in my opinion, really. But if Medi had, especially in the early game, if Medi had just mixed up their stuff a little bit, if they had had a more robust front, I doubt MJ Blair would have been able to out-trade them so easily. Just that single T-80 firing all of its shots, the amount of HE damage it got there, Medi never recovered. That's
but MJ Player didn't out-trade him here.
Yeah, they didn't, and that's why I'm saying that the application of combined arms early on by Medi could have won this, could have actually managed to get the trade up.
Yeah, he traded it. Like, the issue was that he just didn't put his units in the right positions to hold. Like, he lost the north too early on. Like, he still got up 600 point kills here in the end. So
okay, well, I mean trade up in the sense that you. But yeah,
it was a weird game, and that's the classic Medi, and he misses sometimes of it. And MJ Player was a bit more focused on actually winning the map this time around instead of just outright trying to murder the enemy, and it worked out way better. And that was key here. He still had a couple of moments where he struggled, like a couple of T-80 losses that really put him into a hot spot, where then the T-55s finally could do a bit of job, and the T-34s could finally do a bit of work as well. And like the T-55s here getting surprising amount of kills that they really shouldn't have gotten. when there are T-64s and T-80s on the other side. But what MJ player also over invested in is air. Both sides on this map over invested into air. It's not a good air map, and you really shouldn't rely on air spam on this map. And we see it time and time again fail. And MJ player didn't have to rely on it. That's why he won. Maddie had to rely on the air spam, and that's why he lost. And yeah, in the end, a well-deserved MJ player victory, getting us to game 3. And I'm all here for it.
Yeah, just thinking about like the really thin area, the thin wedges where the attacks were happening here. A single smoke mortar could have done so much up north, for instance. Could have protected a flank, could have allowed the better infantry of Medi to get in position. There were a lot of stuff, a lot of things that could have done, and I think Medi was just Mediing a bit too hard there.
I was surprised that we saw some artillery from him, though. Usually, Medi played artillery less without any artillery at all in the past, and that we see some artillery from him is an upgrade that is quite interesting to see. We're looking forward to see what we in the next game. Medi actually adapting here, and that might be enough to get the next one. We will see. One quick break, guys, then we're gonna be back with game number 3. So here it goes, game number 3, the one that decides it all between Medi and MJ player, and this is going to be a hot one, as it's two divisions that are really pretty similar on a map that is absolutely up Medi's alley. This is maybe the map with the widest middle in the game, based on it being corner to corner. So there's a lot of area where Medi could send some shenanigans through, as we are here on Chemical, whilst both sides have the best Soviet tank, maybe. The T-72 coming out in numbers here. 9th Panzer versus 20th Panzerna. And I'm all here for it. And before we jump in, a quick shout out to the Matcherino page, guys, where you can support all of this and get us through up to the next level of prices and get us to 400 points, where the Division 3 players will get part of it as well. So yeah, let me know. You can find it down below in the comment section on YouTube, and you can find it in the chat right now. Thanks to all of you for claiming all the claim code buttons already. That is great job done. Love the community here, and love the community for getting us to $317 already. Let's see if you can get us any further. And yeah, let's get into the action here now. And that's really not the link that I wanted to share there.
So MJ Blair here, continuing with playing the meta division of the moment and playing then with the standard, well-worn and skiffic video presented strategies. We're seeing some maximum Honker Rus action here, with the Honkers honking at 3 veterancy, which is significant because this means that the choice has been made to have these 4-point recon special forces squads be extra good at fighting instead of getting the numbers. And this means that the Honker Rus will also get the 50 cal with the elite trait, and with the veterancy scaling in these games and the Spec Ops scaling, the autocannons and 50 cals are especially powerful when it comes to veterancy, so they benefit from it quite well. And this will possibly, the absolute speed advantage of the Spec Ops cars will just give the 2-point Dimitri zone immediately for MJ Blair. Medi is only sending a single BRM so far, supported by an MI2 Earn, and I think this might be something that MJ Blair's fighter just takes out easily, capturing the whole zone and fortifying. Now, 9th is a Juggernaut. It's more of the Juggernaut of these two. It has the incendiary rocket artillery. It has a lot of late game tools, but it really does not have anything like the Ross Specialne opener. So MJ Blair leaning into it is a pretty nice choice. Of course, with East Germans, the infantry is going to be superior to the Polish infantry, and the tanks are going to have the stress, actually all units are going to have the stress resistance bonus. But so far, Medi opening the most standard that we have seen so far. We see grenade machine guns, we see truck, Motoschützen, and mixed up with BMP Motoschützen, so you have some numbers and you don't have to pay for the BMP 1 every time, or the 2. We're seeing a large but standard amount of recon, no recon rushing happening here, and actually pretty conservative deployment. Is this Medi going legit? Is this Medi putting up the suit and tie and getting out there to the late game armor division factory? What do you think, Protoss?
We will see. I still believe he will overinvest into one flank, and then we will see if it works out or completely collapses on the rest of the map. I haven't quite figured out which side he will do it on yet. I don't think he has. He will just go on based on what he sees. I'm pretty interested to see what the MI2 Yearns can achieve here in the early stages. But on the other side, we see a unit that I haven't seen, as we see the MI2 Salamandra, which are the Malyutka MI2 URPs, and I haven't seen those being played. Like the one with the air-to-air missiles and so on, yes, but the ones with only the ATGMs, that is an interesting pick here by MJ Player. And we have a double fighter opener here on both sides, and Medi has the better fighter. And there's no ground AA, so this is a misinvestment by MJ Player. This should go well for Medi. His fighters have 10 hit points. They have 10% ECM with better missiles. And the other side has the weaker missiles there. So if Medi can get this MiG-23s to actually fire their missiles and doesn't mess up the micro, he will win the engagement. Gets out alive with both of his planes, gets a kill. That's a decent opener there. The MiG-21 though is still around, so it can get some MI2s here. So in the end, not terrible maybe for MJ Player, though if he flies over the coop,
No.
oh no. The coop is once more not firing.
Move command! Move your anti-air with the hunt command, people, please! I can't watch this.
Meanwhile,
The coop could have got us a beautiful kill.
MI2 Yearns actually getting into good positions here. One honker down, 2 honkers down most likely in a second here. This is... Oh, the MI2 US gets the kill there with the 7mm before the honker can go down. So the honker is actually on the way through here in the south, and that could be devastating for Medi. If you lose Dimitri, getting back into it is going to be tough. So the MI2 Yearns from the middle, they are trying to engage here now, as the MiG-23 is trying to help out as well. BRM-1K getting pushed out of there. Yeah, gets down. The MI2 goes down as well. And that is Medi losing the south. And that is going to be a massive, massive issue here.
Medi is responding with more helicopters here, which is sensible considering the tech advantage so far with the fighters. The Polish do get the MiG-29s, do they? I don't remember which Polish division gets them, or
No.
if all of them do.
No, only
Oh, they don't.
only the Dejant Dovi one gets it. So
Okay,
it's only MiG-21s here.
Okay, so this is actually a very sensible helicopter rollout here. Unfortunately, the Mi2s are unarmored and they only have full health. So with the 50 cows spotted here by the Polish vehicles, as well as literally any anti-air that could be going that way, the helicopters most likely are not going to achieve that much. 2 tanks in the middle island for MJ Player, but only supported by a few recon units here, giving Medi a nice little bit of moment to walk out their units, and they're actually buying a Sturm, and the Sturm is going into a very peculiar location at the east corner of the zone, maybe to guard for any breach attacks. And Medi seems to want to cut off the reinforcement road to Dimitri, sending the infantry, the mechanized infantry, to capture this. But this reveals to MJ Player where the units are actually going. And now with Saperzi on the island, the T-72s and the Saperzi could actually just push through.
Yep.
Helicopters underperforming on the right side, second urn running away.
Yeah, but we have Medi getting in between Dimitri and the Spawn here. And that's an interesting position. It's going to get wild here again. Like, this is a position that I haven't seen being pushed all that often yet. But it's a powerful play there, where you can now maybe isolate the units at Dimitri and crush them once you have enough units assembled. They can't really run out of it. And it kind of forces MJ Player to now push into you. Given Medi obviously is thin in his line as well, and he has a coup really closely to the front line again without anything in front of it again. This could be a disaster similar to the last game in that regard, as we have MiG-21s versus MiG-23s here again. His storms are super slow. That's one of the major issues of the storms, so they still will take a while to the middle. And the Sabershis are pushing forward. Motschützen coming in there. The MiG-23 is still being hunted by the MiG-21. Still not able to get on turn, but this next MiG-23 is coming in just in time to most likely save his brethren, get the kill on the MiG-21. CV went down as well to Medi's Motschützen. I'm not sure MJ Play has fully realized what's going to happen here, with these Motschützen pushing deeper and deeper into the reinforcement road, and his units still moving through there.
Yeah, MJ Blair is not pushing the middle fast enough here, so I don't know. Yeah, the recon helicopter spotting this here. Very good luck happening for MJ Blair. Su-22, the AT plane not being in commission immediately has T-72s move a little bit further up, and the Salamandra is getting really good hits against the Motschützen infantry here, and this means that the infantry reinforcements of Medi will most likely try to keep on pushing down south, and they will meet the T-72s in the middle now. Okay, another AT plane coming in here. Another AT plane. It could be actually getting a really nice hit here on the T-72.
No, going for the coup, though. He's trying to take out the AA.
Oh, yeah.
He failed with it, though. He loses the Su-22. Medi being a bit greedy as usual. Yeah, the T-72s are pushing further. Nothing has eyes on the T-72s here right now, but they don't have many eyes on anything either. Getting the Sturm, though, as the Sturm was outside of cover. And yeah, the Motschützen here are around. Medi got a good kill there, though. The 2 BRMs, 2 Salamandra helicopters for only 1 Motschützen team at the earlier stages. That was a really, really good trade there for Medi. But he's now having to figure out how to deal with these T-72s, and I'm not sure he has a good idea about that just yet.
Yeah, in this situation where Medi just does not have that many units out on the board. They don't have any tanks, for instance, so they are inherently in a defensive stance. Playing greedily is not really the vibe right now. There's been a lot of investments getting made to a lot of reasonably expensive planes, a helicopter coming in here right now. The main thing that Medi needs to do is to make sure that the Poles, who have the faster deployment generally, not always, and have the cheaper stuff, that the Poles don't just fill the map with units that Medi can never actually reasonably engage, because so much of his points have been invested into the air tab. The air tab that will eventually likely attrition away against the Coups. Now, the fact that the leader of the Poles has not reached Dimitri is a huge bonus here and is buying Medi a lot of time, but this time here is getting spent by buying Motschützen to hold this wide front, no attack coming. No, Juggernaut is not organizing to attack anything, just desperately trying to match the numbers of 2nd 20th Panzer. Yeah. Now another AT plane diving in.
Trying to get the airplay more online. Yeah, he's investing a lot into air, gets the CV killed there. One of the T-72s has fallen in the middle already. Only one remaining there now. And I mean, the Polish combined arms here is not really online either, as Poles are pulled between a lot of places as well, and they lack the combined arms here. They send in infantry now to finally clean up the road between Dimitri and their spawn, but now they're in a bit of a trouble in the center. They invested into AA, but there's only 2 units in front of that AA, and if Medi can get that sniffed out, he might be able to push that. Medi is also slowly approaching Anna there with a lot of recon units all around the block, and obviously with air can be reinforcing that and getting a numerical advantage and power advantage due to his air force showing up in that area as well. But yeah, the southern push to Dimitri now gets through, and that is going to start a decent tick here for MJ Player, and that is going to be problematic.
Yeah, losing the BMP2 means that the fire supremacy is completely done. The Mi-24D can actually try to do something here, but only until the Coups manage to get there. If the Mi-8 manages to actually, is the Coup? No, the Coup is on a hunt order, so it's not going to drive into a Cone missile or a Falanga. But yeah, at this point, there is enough. There are recon Saperis Yadovci. There are Shilkas that can provide fire support against enemy infantry. There's 2 infantry units as well as a T-55 coffin launcher going up there in the middle. And once those units reach the T-72, I think they're going to keep on pushing. And with more infantry going out north, and that infantry will be there way before Medi's mechanized infantry can reach the area, and by that point, defender's advantage will likely be strong enough for MJ player to win that engagement.
Storm hunting
Medi
for
is
the coup though, and Medi has too much. It's curiously down in the south. The Storm now going for the engagement here from the middle against the coup. If that coup falls, there is no AA here to protect against the AT, no AA to protect against the Mi-24, and the AT now moving north at the same time, trying to find something there. Medi is trying to pull things thin and then trying to punish the AA, and then when the AA is punished, follow it up with the air spam again. And that might work out here. The Storm is in an annoying spot now, has a lot of good line of sights, and there is no tank that can just jump on top of it. So the Storm will get some damage done here.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Medi's retreat with the BRM and the way from the enemy push was really nice little micro. The fact that the BRM survived here and can act together with the Storm is an amazing force multiplier. Either one of those units alone would be mediocre, but together they are actually very powerful. Very good recon with very good fast missiles.
Yeah, MJ player now bringing up BMP-1s with a lot of Saperji and Piotr Smek into the middle here. But there are enough Mudshits in there to greet them. The 30mm grenade launchers are a nice force multiplier for the infantry fights as well. And BRM1 of MJ player going down. More BMP-2s now and T-72s coming into the middle. As Medi, where is Medi going with all of this? Sending some units north now, but not really committing into anything massive there. Just trying to find a weak spot here, I guess. But the Mudshits in the south finally crossed the bridge, and we'll try to find an angle towards Dimitri most likely as well. Helicopter still around. The coup did survive. That's frustrating for Medi. But yeah, the fight in the center here now, the more important one. But the +4 is really good for MJ player.
Yeah, BMP-1 struggling to fight against a Shilka that permanently stun locks it. But now that the T-55 coffin launcher is out here and is immediately opening fire at the Motorschützen in the building, there are enough Polish infantry on the zone Elena to consider it captured. I think there only needs to be a recon there, and that is permanently an area that needs to be captured back. Medi is driving down with the BMP-2s now. With the autocannons, they can fight against the Shilka very effectively, but on the side, the T-72s could easily move down and open fire on this mechanized attack. No, they are not doing that. Medi actually might be getting away with this. Medi is just deploying on the offensive while the enemy is inside his zone. Oh, this is amazing. Getting a Strela for their insolence there, for their arrogance.
Yeah, and might even just run for the coup here now with the BMP-1. T-72s finally come around, get one T-72s getting one BMP-2 killed, second one under fire. Now they have to be careful to not run into the Mudschützen too deep. One of them getting murdered already, as the BMP-1 there with a side shot, and the BMP-2 there hitting it as well. So the T-72 going down, second one now in range of the Mudschützen RPGs, so that's not great either. And we have Su-22s here in the sky. Coup is still around, gets one of them pushed back, but the lack of AA is starting to show up here now. There is still a good amount in the south with the Coup, Estrella, and the Chilka, but the north is pretty empty, and that means the Su-22s and the Mi-24s can start to go to town, Coup out of missiles, and yeah, Medi might get through with his air spam.
Yeah, this air spam here can be countered by like 2 coups that are in position, but that's gonna take some time. And meanwhile, all the Motorschützen getting into positions where it's quite difficult to get rid of them.
MJ player carried did panic, did buy some helicopters because he thought he needed units right now, but that's obviously just right into the MiG-23s that just deployed. So his Mi-24s are down to 1 hit point, and down to half-life already, and the MiG-23s can just finish them off here in a second. Coop is still out of ammo, so these Mi-24s, they are going down, and that is a massive misinvestment here. That's a complete minute of income just wasted here on MJ Player's side.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Sturm gets 2 free BMP2 kills because MJ Blair did not realize to smoke them off. Now, buying helicopters, in my opinion, is like a show of weakness in this game. If somebody immediately sends like 2 helicopters or a recon heli, or holds a front line with a recon heli, that right there is a show that they don't have anything out there, that they are concerned about this moment. So if you can see the helicopter wave going like that, that should be that should feed your aggression or your aggressive tactics here. T-72 M1s are on the zone, but without recall, with very minimal air support, and driving into infantry that, despite their abysmal 500-meter range, the RPG-27s can, if they get to fire, that's it for the T-72.
Yeah, and we see MJ Player panicking now, buying 3 Strellas, but he has no recon. His combined arms is suffering, and Medi is starting to get where Medi wants to be. MJ Player still has a +5 on the field right now, is going up to 1,500 points soon here, but Medi starts to get a bit of a feed in on the bottom again, and is getting the MiG-21 in the skies right now. Like, there's too many panic investments right now. MJ Player is still in charge, but he needs to keep that up, otherwise this could derail really quickly. Medi is starting to take control over the center now, has a couple of T-72s around there, and his are supported. The ones of MJ Player are with nearly no support left for them, and this is a massive problem for our player in blue now.
Oh no, the command tank getting stun locked and tracks broken by the behind. And now finally, T-72 MUV2s, the weird older models built in Czechoslovakia, I believe, are the cheaper variants, elited up, and are driving in these close ranges, excellent against other T-72s, slightly cheaper, do still have the smoke, unlike the T-72Ms, and with the penetration being just enough to be superior on close ranges. T-55 AS getting shot here. Only a BMP-1 left with the Piechota Schmeck. The Polish infantry, though more numerous and cheaper, do only have 14 penetration AT weapons. This is a huge problem if you are fighting against exactly the T-72s, because those things, their front armor is just strong enough to never really take serious damage, compared to something like an 18-pen Motorschützen can easily kill.
Look at that deployment in Anna at the same time as well from Medi. He puts Iglas just right into it like it's his zone. It is not his zone at all, but he is behaving like it, and it's starting to work out. BMP2 starts to get some damage in here, and we see issues here for MJ Player that really shouldn't happen right now. This is not going well now. He is still on the +2 though, and he is 1,400 points ahead, so he just needs to get it together. There is still a lot of room here for success for him, but not if he loses T-72s like this, not if he starts to lose his combined arms completely, and it's pretty close here. It's on the brink. MJ Player needs to get it together in the next 2 minutes, or this game might just derail completely.
Yeah, the front line has been stretched so far, and with the air supremacy, Medi is currently trading so far up that MJ Blair needs to do something despite being on a +2 right now. That is how concerning the situation is here. MJ Blair is investing immediately into the helicopter but they're just going to drive into the E-Class. And even if this attack on Northwest for Medi, or this incursion, even if it doesn't do anything, the fact that the points are spent out there and not to fight against the main force in the middle is a victory for Medi.
Yes, taking away both attention and points that could have gone into the middle. Finally, something deals with the Storm here in the south now, as the Storm will drive into some Piechota mech, and at the same time, though, the T-72s of Medi just have a go order now. They will run over the Coop. The Strellas then will be the only AA, and then the planes can come in again. SU-22AT is around and the Coop goes down, and yeah, MJ Player just not quite ready for the shenanigans that Medi will throw his way. And this is a massive, massive issue now. Ooh, Strella. No, T-72M1D goes down. That's the last CV in the middle. Now Maddie will get the whole island and will most likely go deeper. Finally, the SU-22AT goes down. SU-22AT being bought on the other side, but that's a suicide run. That's a panic buy. It needs to get double kill here to pay off because it's most likely going to die out there. It doesn't get the first one. It finally gets a single kill, but that's not a good trade. The T-72 is cheaper than the SU-22, so... Oh, what? It lives? How does it live? Okay, Medi lets it live.
Meanwhile, in Southeast, Medi has snuck up a Shilka and a T-72 leader. 2 Motorschützen were sent in to contest the town, and despite them being slowly traded away against the Polish infantry, they managed to secure the corner, which has now equaled the points differential. Now, the T-72 is not in a perfect position, and it will need to be microed by Medi if it wants to survive, most likely. But the RPG 76 Komar is possibly the worst or the second worst under the RPG2, second worst infantry AT weapon in the game, and so this increases the chances of Medi to actually hold that tank right there.
T-72 M1K getting on top of the CV. The CV gets killed off, so Medi just gets his own now. This is a massive misplay by MJ player, getting in with his CV there. Just now allowing Medi to ignore that whole south now, because he doesn't need to push deeper, he doesn't need to go for the capture, and still gets the point tick. Will get a point tick in the center as well, will go up to a +4 with that, and then even can go up north to Anna now, as his units there outnumber the enemy as well. This is basically over here now. There is no combination for MJ player anymore. It's all going downhill here.
Yeah, the overextension of the T-72 M1s up there in the middle, just donating away the last solid firepower that they had in the middle, and allowing the DDR T-72s, which are just like better. With the Resolute trait, they are just better, even if they are the same tanks. And so not having the supremacy there, especially when your enemy is holding you on this chokehold of SU-22 play, and also is constantly has a recon advantage with infantry all over the place. The early game infantry investments, buying the Motorschützen out there that I mentioned, they were worth it. Having the wide front was the correct option in the early game to actually manage to get ninth into something akin to an offensive division. The MiG-23 play, recognizing the ability to get fire support, and even when it was risky, sending the Su-22s to fly at the coops, constantly having the Mi-8 PPA, the jammer chopper with the 30 ECM, go around and try to pick out and get vision on the coops. All of this, I love to see Medi's plan really actually get together. Once the constant trading advantage against the tanks was established, that was when the side attacks started getting bought, and the side attacks went slowly. And even up northwest now, the leader is going in. Medi was playing the long game and was playing it correctly, preventing the enemy from pushing and becoming a threat by constantly contesting the reinforcement route. Was exactly the right way to deal with the fact that Rotspecialne could just capture the town for free.
GG is called. Medi moves on to the semifinal, and that means Medi is back in Division 1. And that is really going to be interesting to see. I wonder if Medi will step it up a bit next season. Usually, with Medi, it's always one upset game in the playoffs, in the group stage in Division 1, and then a lot of games where he runs against the wall. Maybe he can get the strategies a bit better. But yeah, really well played here by Medi. Really setting it up nicely, letting the enemy go a bit too deep into him again, and finding those sweet spots, getting to play a map different than we have it seen being played before, and that's exactly why we love this guy. And I'm sorry to MJ Player a bit for not focusing more on him, but the Medi is always the one that dictates how a game goes, and that's why I focus so much on him here. It's just what he is the one that you have to adapt to, and if you don't adapt to him, you're gonna suffer like this last game here.
Yeah, MJ player from the start was playing exactly as you are supposed to. They were playing the meta ranked strats, the meta ranked divisions. They were playing them correctly, and the unit combinations there were basically they were like meticulously detailed. There weren't like any immediate problems or inefficiencies that you can see. But the problem is that when you play that kind of well drilled gameplay style against Medi, sometimes, such as in the second game, that is enough. Sometimes Medi just leans too deep into the wacky stuff. But in both the first game and the last game here, I think we can see that the well planned out, maybe a bit weird, maybe a bit unorthodox. In the first game, it was the recon helicopter rush, which was, of course, great. The transport helicopter rush, I mean. And in the latest game, it was forcefully trying to achieve the air supremacy, and I didn't think it was going to get it. I personally thought wasting the SU-20 was would have been a mistake. And but by the time the breakthrough actually happened, by the time the MiG-23s were sent to catch the catch the missiles so that they could be targeted later on, like that was how dedicated Medi was to the strategy, and it just worked completely. It was very good.
Yep, really, really well played here by both players. But Medi just did many things, and yeah, MJ player learned a lesson there for next season maybe when he runs into players like this. I really hope, looking forward to the future of that player as well. Like the fundamentals are there, just a bit more experience, I guess, on the tournament stage. Then we hopefully will see MJ player moving closer to Division One next season. But yeah, Medi is back in Division One. I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to him trying the shenanigans, being the tester for, and maybe making somebody like Tiberius or so stumble once more next season. And with that said, let's go to the other game of the day, as we have another ex Division One player trying to get back up there, as Mr. Puritaner is awaiting in the next one. So quick break, and then we're gonna come in here with the game that we haven't covered in this Edbe versus Tanner, two veterans against each other. One trying to get the first time into Division 1, one on his way potentially back in there. It's going to be interesting as well. So, short break, then we're going to go into the final Division 2 game here. So, Edbe versus Puritaner. The final match for the semifinals. Also, the final match for who qualifies for Division 1 next season. And it's a classic Murica versus Murica matchup between two divisions that couldn't be more different. As we have on the one side, for Edbe, the 3rd US Armored, and Tanner coming in with the 82nd Airborne on the other side. So yeah, this is going to be exciting, as it's a really big rush division versus the biggest late game division in the game. But it has the same F-15s. That's the thing. It has the same Apaches as well. So maybe there is a room here where Edbig can just get the early game done through as well. Has a lot of forward deployment set up here as well, but obviously not airborne. And what is Puritaner's plan here? All right. What?
I I don't know about them being completely different. I think they're actually in their own categories. They hold the same point. These are the two expensive, two good divisions. Units are very expensive. You get a lot of them. They're best in their class. The LAV for the 82nd, despite all of its price nerfs, is still one of maybe the best vehicle to do the thing that the LAV does, which is the early game interception, recon vehicle, blah blah stuff. The Apaches, the F-15s you mentioned, they are the best at doing that sort of stuff. And the airborne dragons and even the standard airborne, very powerful infantry units. No complaining out there except for the price. The problem is that both with 82nd being too expensive to fight early game against the more versatile, less expensive infantry divisions. I don't think that's going to be the case against Third Armored. So this is basically a situation where 82nd gets to play as aggro as it wants, as long as they don't trade down early on. The aggro advantage can be kept up. Now, Etpe is trying to counter this with a relatively strong recon opener with numerous expensive Bradley CFVs, Kiowa Warriors, and aircraft troopers, which are deployed about as fast as the forward deployment infantry can reach a position. But all of this is very expensive, and as we can see from the red team here, not that much on the board. Third is going to have to spend so much time actually building up the force.
Oh no!
It's going to be...
Units were
Oh
forgotten.
yeah, it's not moving. It's not moving.
They're finally getting an order here. Oh, that could have
Yeah.
been a disaster. Like, they will already be annoyingly late now, being slow units that already arrive after everything arrives. And, losing that Cav would have been massive. It at least only is 10 seconds or so, but that's still annoying. Kiowa Warrior here, I'm surprised by that investment. It's a hard-hitting unit, and if it gets its missiles on target, it can punish the enemy hard, but you have fantastic fighters, you have airborne Stingers and the airborne Vulcans on the battlefield here. Like, how are you supposed to use the Kiowa Warrior that is supposed to punish heavy tanks in this matchup? I'm not quite sure about that.
I think it's just about the laws. I think it's just about the LAVs. The Blackhawks here are getting invented aircraft troopers, which are going to hold the line, at least for the moment, and the Kiowa Warriors are supposed to destroy the light vehicles that could target them. Now, I think you asked me about the Peary Tanner's plan. I think Tanner's plan here needs to be constant aggression. Every second that counts is the game is scaling to the armored division's favor. And if here the expensive Bradleys, which are driving up north to get into close range positions against 82nd Airborne, at Etpe up north here, that's insane. If some good kills happen for Tanner, Tanner could pretty easily push through here and just keep getting ground. Right now, Tanner is deploying more defensively, which I think will change once they meet the Bradley line and actually take some of them out. An Eagle is up on one side to counter the Phantom.
Yeah,
I don't think Tanner spotted the Phantom here. Could actually prevent it dropping.
Phantom already getting hunted, no F-15 being bought by Edbe, and the Phantom just going down immediately. That already is a big loss, and the Bradleys have to be careful. The Airborne Dragon, they one-tap them. The 18 damage on the Dragon 2 is enough to one-shot kill the Bradleys. So this Bradley game is super dangerous. They're smoking off here, they have to disengage. And yeah, this cavalry gameplay of Edbe, interesting strategy. I'm not sure I like it.
Yeah, the like having these things so close, having two of them in a long-range engagement is one thing, but hold on, did I actually drop off of Discord?
No, you're still here.
Okay, good. Having them play this riskily, now they are moving in to achieve some kind of rage supremacy, but there's nothing to follow this up. There's a Bradley fire team coming in, but that's nowhere near enough to actually fight for them. Now, getting these... losing to the Airborne Dragon. Now, immediately, half of the points, half of the firepower is done here. And even if the M3 Bradley can keep on doing some damage, there's an F-16 LGB coming down and taking it for basically no risk, I think. Now that Tanner knows that there's no F-15 in the sky.
Yeah, Bradley going down and investing anything towards Charlie here is an interesting choice by Edbe, as you would expect him trying to maybe just achieve a victory in Foxtrot and winning slowing the game down completely by just playing that turtle playstyle, getting the F-15s out to shoot down the air superiority out of the sky that 82nd wants to achieve, as you can combine them with Chaparrals, whilst the other side at best has Avengers. And yeah, more M1A1s coming in. F-15C Eagle here is in the sky with its M9Ms and MRAMs, but I'm not a big fan of the northern push of Edbe, and losing Foxtrot and Charlie means that Tanner is getting the +2 that you want here early on as the Airborne Division, and is kind of happy with that. especially after getting the kill on both Bradleys. Like, the KD is going decent enough. Needs to maybe push up the pressure a bit in the near future again, but currently Edbay is pushing into him, so doesn't even really have to move there.
Yeah, the lack of pressure on the middle of basically of Tanner planning out to fight a defensive battle around Foxtrot. There has not even been an attempt to try to push against the Bravo to take those positions, which are so essential if you want to have map control as an infantry division here. Now the Humvee getting in there and managing to take out the leader Abrams. That is huge.
That is such a disaster, and the Airborne Dragon taking out the Kev before the Kev could get a shot out. The Humvee toes here getting amazing kills, getting the friendly as well.
Bradley.
Everything is going downhill here. That set back Edbay by 3 minutes here. 3 minutes that now Tanner can use. No, the F-15 is going down as well. Oh, what a disaster here for our player in red. LGB now can just go through and get some kills. It's basically GG at this point. Like, Edbay maybe can just... If Tanner is not chasing him off the map, Edbay maybe can recover from this in 5 minutes, 6 minutes time, but he has to play on absolute tiptoes now for the next 10 minutes or so.
So Tanner is buying bought 4 Humvee toes to put them all around the middle here to make sure that any future fight here absolutely gets won. I think that's even kind of overkill. Instead of getting even more toes, get like 2 airborne units and just start pushing the middle. Force Edbay to buy infantry. One M1A1 Abrams is 275 points. If you keep buying those things and enough air support for them and enough recon for them, there's gonna be holes, and having to buy infantry with expensive Bradleys to hold Bravo against an endless yet slow attack by airborne dragon units, that's not going to be a good deal for Edbay. But Tanner so far is playing this very, very, very passively. I think, the plan here may have been to just ensnare the first 10 minutes attack that's going to happen by third. The +2 is just enough here. You don't need to push farther. I would like for him to push further, of course, but you don't have to. Playing this extremely slowly is getting the results here.
Yes, and we have so many Humvee toes on the battlefield now with air superiority for the 82nd that getting through that ATGM wall is just going to be pretty painful. Like, usually against most ATGMs, M1A1s can just push on, but not if it's TOW 2s that they have to fight on. Those actually hurt even the heavy tanks, and that's the issue here. Like, yeah, usually those ATGMs on 82nd are a bit overkill. Not so much against 30US. There they are just exactly right. Kind of shows you how nations always plan against their own equipment. And yeah, LGB here coming along, finding the kill onto the M1A1, and yeah, doing a great job here.
Yeah, the Humvee tow micro has been really nice. Tanner has held a flanking tow unit at return fire, only to micro and start using it once the enemy pushed. Like, these sorts of little details here, even while having this massive concave of ATGMs, trying to let the enemy get deep enough so that they can be stunned by the dragons and then mass attacked by the Humvee tows. That's a really nice strategy, and having that superiority means that a single salvo will stun the Abrams, and that is enough to probably kill them due to the TOW 2. Now, Edbay is reliant on the M1A1s. They don't have any cheaper tanks, so they are locked into having the numerical, and there are mortars, mass of smoke mortars coming in here, and that's probably going to be about it. There's a fighter currently up in the air, but the fighter is not going to dive against the Kiowa. There are no real targets here, so anytime anytime Tanner achieve air supremacy, they will probably know that there's an enemy fighter that was recently had to go refuel. The Eagle has only 140 seconds autonomy, and if it's close enough, and if you have the PVATs out there, you can have some amount of air spotting capacity, I think. So having the fighter there is not necessarily the best idea.
Yeah, Tanner gets an eagle out as well. So the eagle on both sides, and yeah, don't think either side will dive deep here. No real reason for to do so. The aircraft troopers in the south getting engaged by the airborne, getting hunted down. The M1A1 line is not here yet. Edbay will need to wait another 10 minutes or so until, or at least another 5-6 minutes until they have enough forces to move anything here again. And until then, Tanner will have such a massive force, and Tanner is now also going for blood. Bravo is going to get attacked here, and there is currently nothing ready to defend it. So double F-15 also now out for Tanner. The F-15 on the other side has to be super careful, as the Chaparrals can't cover the whole front line. And yeah, it's running back home now. The F-15's here for Tanner, just outnumbering it, and that is going to be a problem the whole game now.
Yeah, now here is the mass front line of smokes, and they will try to cover enough of the positions to allow for the CV to get in and capture the zone completely. And then the next step there is to achieve fire supremacy, fire control against the entry points of blue. So basically, the western road part, the western corner of the zone, there needs to be fire control imposed on that area. And that's not actually really possible. Not from these positions. It either needs to move from Bravo to southwest and try to capture these industrial halls to gain some recon advantage and maybe have a tank out there, or they need to have the infantry fight for the south part of the town. South part of the zone of the forest. And currently, aircraft troopers are running away from the airborne, and the infantry that is getting bought here is getting bought in Bradleys, which are powerful, but I doubt they're going to do the greatest job against the Humvetos.
Yeah, scouts getting a bit of scouting in here. Infantry a bit isolated of Tanner here in front of the smoke, but all his ATGMs are behind it. So the smoke mortars thing is working out okay. And when A1's coming around, Bradley's coming around, but Tanner is setting up for a push towards Bravo. Hasn't quite made it happen yet. The airbornes could have been in there already, and I believe him wasting time here is giving Edbe moments that he shouldn't get, but Edbe also maybe overstaying the welcome here now as the smoke is lifting and the M1A1 is getting just hunted down now by ATGMs. Gets a Humvee tow now before it smokes off. Can play with its own smoke there a bit. Next smoke mortar rounds already coming in. Finds the Sheridan as well, but 2 Humvee tows, missiles flying in, one from the side. Is that the kill on it again? No, it is good damage though. So the M1A1 has to get the hell out of there and has to get back to the supply truck. But the scouts have to run, but they will go down most likely beforehand. ATGM's tow still flying in. M1A1 lost the smoke screen. Oh, it barely survives here. LGB did lose line of sight there as well, but nothing here around to kill it. Chaparral too far away, doesn't get the kill. And yeah, a couple of okay kills on some transporters there. A lot of work that went into it, but Edbe has to push a move out of it again and has to find a new way of dealing with all of this. At least finally some good trades though.
Yeah, Tanner has already bought a line of light artillery, and this artillery will be able to punch down at any positions where the infantry get themselves into, any Bradleys that might be in a position to threaten the reinforcements, anything really. Even the Abrams can be stunned pretty easily if they're held still. There's also an Apache ATGM here, which is a very juicy target for a diving enemy fighter plane. The fighter plane itself, of course, is a very juicy target for a Stinger or an enemy fighter, which will likely go and pursue it. Now, the front line here for Tanner is goddamn unbeatable. The airborne push at the middle is finally happening, reinforced only by a single Bradley and some Chaparrals. The front line
Oh
that
no!
has been built.
The Eagle is diving! What is the Eagle doing? Edbe, no, you can't take the 1 versus 2 engagement. Oh, it gets the kill at least.
Oh wow.
Super lucky there.
Well,
But it goes down, and that's 2 eagles down for only 1 eagle down of Tanner in this game. And Tanner is totally fine with that. As long as he's the one that has an eagle left in the end, he gladly takes the trades.
but yeah, what I was saying was that the Etpes fighting line here with the Bradley, 2 Abrams, and the fire teams, and this is all good stuff, but it's not going to do anything against what Tanner has here. Tanner's force is both mobile with the ATGM and capable of punishing turtling with the artillery. The mortars, the mobility is the way around the mortars. Infantry is just better, so any sorts of slow fights here will trade for Tanner, because Tanner has the mobility to punish any tanks or vehicles that move into fire support.
Yes, and M2A1 Bradley is here, still coming around, M1A1's coming around, and at some point they might achieve critical mass that they can just kind of one-shot airborne.
Oh no, side
but
shot.
oh no, not if you lose
Yes,
M1A1s like this. Not if you lose them like this. And yeah, that's another M1A1 down. The smoke mortars weren't quite in the right spot. There is no Kev here with all of this right now, so killing off infantry takes longer than you want it to be. Chaparrals and mortars getting hunted down now by the artillery pieces on the other side as well. And yeah, it's only 2 M1A1s again here on the battlefield. It's not enough tanks. It's not enough to just keep on one-shotting those Humvee toes that you spot. And then Tanner can just hold on, is still on a +2, is 1,200 points ahead here now, and can still just get Bravo. That Tanner didn't get Bravo is the biggest mistake here, and that is the only kind of silver lining I have for Edbe, that he only is up against a +2 and still might have enough time to get 4 massive attack, but getting these points back that he's behind already is going to be tough.
Yeah, right as Tanner's Stinger reinforcements arrive, Phantom is trying to dive the position they believe the airborne leader recon to be, completely whiffing and getting punished by the Stingers. Now the smoke mortars are basically a way to try to force this issue, to just try to keep on doing this strategy even beyond its. And I think the this will not work. No matter how deep you push, no matter how well you can keep this third US attack going, there's always going to be an Apache that's going to punish you. You do not have air supremacy right now, so you can't take out that Apache, and you're not going to have air supremacy because there's like a full card's worth of AB Stingers on the board right now.
Yes, and there is not enough to one-shot the TOW2s, and that is the issue here, as and single M1A1 can't take a fight against the TOW2. 3 of them can one-shot a couple of TOW2s in a row, play with the smoke and then disengage, but now tracks are broken, another M1A1 goes down without the fire support, and it's just the numbers game here, and you never get critical mass of firepower, and when you never get critical mass of firepower to one-shot that, when you never hit those marks, then you're just gonna lose this engagement. You need to be able to dismantle the class cannon division that is 82nd before their weapons can hit you, but that is not happening, and that puts Edbe here in a really, really tough spot.
Yeah, the when I said in the opener that be like the perfect counter, it really is. Like, what else can you do? I thought Tanner was going to play aggro, but Tanner just played defensive, and that was enough. Even then, the ability to bring out those Humvees in such numbers to immediately get the slowest division in the game, arguably, to have that sort of counter strike and ability to both defend on long and close ranges, and then use the helicopters in the air to basically do this, to discourage any kind of movement around the map. So you are encouraging your enemy to pop so that they can avoid your planes and your helicopters, but then you also have this the forward deployment advantage where you can build this insane defense. I just don't see how this could be played by Third Armored. Third Armored needed to do something completely different, and I don't know what that is.
Well,
Like opener all in is obviously suicidal at this point, but like you can't wait also. Just can't do anything.
you can wait if you get enough M1A1s around to one-shot things. As I said, there is a breaking point where M1A1s just can't be stopped, even by TOE2s, because they just one-shot every TOE2 that comes into sight. But they never had that combined arms, and now they have to push into a concave whilst they are in the convex, and they just get punished from all sides and just get murdered, and that's because they have to take the timing now, and I think this is about the moment where you tap Elsa at bay, because this is not working out. There is not a single M1A1 left on the map now, and you need 5-6 of them. Like, it's kind of similar to what you see with the Leopard play that you see out of 46, out of the German divisions. Just that you trade side armor and a 50 cal for the extra speed. But it's terrible what's going on here right now. The Bradley's just getting murdered. And this is not working out.
Somebody in the chat asked why are the M1A1s not probing other directions. The problem is that moving tanks around when your enemy has a forward deployment advantage automatically puts them at risk, because the enemy recon could spot your movement. You moving your tanks to a different location can be spotted because the tanks have bad stealth and the enemy has airborne scouts potentially anywhere. The enemy has both the LGP and the Apache, which can punish you easily if you don't have enough chaparrals or PVATs, or just really chaparrals. I mean, the PVATs can stop the LGP. And the M1A1s also, if you move them around and the enemy has to sneak in another flanking unit, they could just take your unit out at the movement. The lack of map control and the 82nd having the potential to threaten every position leads to the armor player basically blowing up more and more and more and just trying to brute force the issue. But against 82nd, that was not happening. TOE2 is too powerful.
Yeah, really, really well played here. 41,000 versus 1,500 kills, and Edway just not really playing the matchup. Like those two recon Bradleys from the get-go, indicating the wrong idea of how to approach this matchup in my eyes. Like, you need the M109s, you need that combined arms of having 3-4 eagles flying over your M1, letting no LGB touch you anywhere, having recon Bradleys for spotting any ATGM that tries to fire on you, and then having the M1s lighting them up in a line of fire. But that did never happen. You never got the combined arms that you want to achieve as 30US here. And then 82nd just runs around you and kills you. And there was also no other place to put your tank plop. Like, this southern area is the only useful place for tanks to be. Like, where should you go on Black Forest? This is not the map where you just can swing around with your tanks and push over another open field, because there is no other open field. So that was the place to be, yeah. But he came there too late, and then he also messed it up. So really not Edbay's strongest game, and Tanner playing exactly what he needed. He didn't play the most amazing 82nd because he didn't need to play an amazing 82nd here. He just needed to wait for Edbay to kind of commit seppuku on his ATGMs, and that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, getting decked hard. The second place for the tanks to operate would be if there was an attack from the Etbes side to the town. Now, but that would require there to be a large infantry force that could cover the infantry force actually needs to be assaulting the town for the tanks to act as fire support. If you send the tanks alone out there and try to have them attack a unit that is fortified in a building near the town, it's going to be spotted early on, and it's going to, even if it's not taken out by an air asset, if it drives close enough to see something, it is very much overextended. And so that's only something you can do with a division that's way more infantry, or with third armored in super late game once you have your massive fighting line of Bradley fire teams.
Yeah, and with that, let's see if Edbay can get it a bit better into the game and in a bit of a smoother matchup the next one, or if Tanner does move back to Division 1 here, following Medi into that sweet Division 1 action and into the semifinals first. And yeah, quick break, guys. Then we're going to be back with the next game here. And here we go, everybody. As we are back on a classic map, we're back on two lakes. Somebody really seems to hate us here out of these two, wanting us to cast this boring ass map once more time. But let's see, maybe they can make it interesting. Tanner usually one that can make games like this interesting. We have seen him trying to push big tank blobs through the middle in the past, and it nearly worked out. Maybe it might work out this time around, as he is playing a division that can do that again. He is playing the 5th Panzer, and on the other side, Edbe coming around with 20th Panzer here. Before we jump in though, quick shout out to the Matcherino page, guys, as we are still at $317, and you can make that bigger with direct donations that go to all these lovely players. Division 2 winner already getting $25. If you want to see Division 3 players getting a bit more motivated, and our semifinalists in Division 1 as well, consider supporting the prize pool here. And also, don't forget to jump over to Chloride's channel, leaving a follow there if you haven't done that in the past, so you see when Chloride is live on his channel. And leave a like here and a follow, obviously, if you're here. And thanks to all of you for watching again. Thanks to all of you for being active in the chat again. It's great as always. And yeah, let's get into the action here. 20th Panzerna versus 5th Panzer. It's hype.
Yeah, I like the stream on YouTube. But hey, about the two lakes matchup, at least this is a tank division matchup. At least we're going to see some tank micro here. And we're going to likely see the Leopards go against the numerically superior force of T-72s, as it was always meant to be. Now, the Honkerus is the opener unit of choice here, and immediately gives the Poles the advantage via recon. This recon is even more important considering that this is a tank versus tank matchup. So the units with bad stealth that need to be spotted early on to be taken by enemy recon, to be taken by enemy helicopters or planes. Rozpecialne basically managed to give the opener here relatively to the Poles. But immediately after the opener, now then we are already seeing 5th Panzer invest into some pretty nice blobbing. We're seeing a highly defensive opener up north, not even trying to leave the industrial zone, which is the right choice in my opinion. You deny your opponent easy early on kills with their recon advantage by not deploying far enough, and taking a two Rasits, which are these cheap exceptional optics ground surveillance radar cars, and opening with 2 Gepards and a Leopard. Really, this seems to be the anti-air here is so heavy. The Schwilling is, of course, also provide anti-infantry firepower, which is important, but I think this really is about microing the single Leopard 2A4, having a proper enough recon coverage for it, giving it there's even supply for it already bought, and yeah, I think this is going to be a situation where the single Panzer Ace is going to have to deal with basically everything that Epke has to push.
Yeah, and Tanner also bringing a unit around that he got nerfed in the past. The Transport Panzer Fuchs Milan with the Milan 2 inside. Back in the day, there was a time when you could bring Panzer Grenadiers in those. But Tanner exploited those so much heavily that, yeah, they got nerfed. He is the main reason people adopted his playstyle, and it got out of hand. So we got those removed. You could just play an insane ATGM wall with them. They're still pretty efficient. 35 points for a mobile ATGM platform that also has smoke is really nice. But yeah, Edbay getting into the town here in the south, bringing around the T55 AS as well, which can be pretty gnarly in the town fights. For example, taking out some Zwillinge or taking out some of the infantry in a building. It's interesting to see if Edbay will be able to really solidify the foothold in Oscar, or if Tanner finds a way of getting him out there in due time.
Yeah, I still remember that game where Tanner the game on Airport, back when you could have the 10-man Pioneer arm boosts inside those Fuchses. It was insane. Completely got 5th Panzer and made it meta immediately.
Yeah, Leo 2A4 engaging here from the rear. T-55s rolling forward. On the other side, 3 Leo 1A1s coming in as cheap guns that can help out dealing damage. And yeah, the Zwillinge doing, and the Gepards doing what they need to do against the infantry. As the Honkaroos trying to come in here from the side, trying to bully the Fuchs Razit. Actually pretty effective at that. So Fuchs Razit gets got in the south here. Iltus Führungs in danger there as well. Gepards trying to get around there to maybe help it out. But the town fight is going a bit better for Tanner right now. Though, ooh, the AS, is it hitting anything? It hits the Zwillinge, it gets both Zwillinge. That's a good hit. That's a good start to this. And the Leo 2 is fully stressed out as well, so that is not a good position either.
The recon M113 actually popping smoke here, but it didn't prevent the Leopard from getting hit by a Conqueror's missile. The Shilka getting some fire on the F4, which is going to retreat now. 3 Leopard 1s getting brought out here to achieve fire superiority. I think that is the right choice. The Leopard 2 alone got too much stun damage, even though it almost destroyed the T-55 with a single shot. Currently, Etke has a lot of units up north invested, a lot of units capable of attacking. There are Honkaruses, Zilkas, and Piekota Schmeck. And these units will likely start applying pressure up north as soon as the micro capacity is found for them. And of course, that could be an overinvestment. But if you don't find out what your enemy has on the industrial zone, you could be missing an insane amount of points that you can gain early on. So you're going to have to do some kind of investigation there.
Yeah, the Gepards engaging a Scott here and nearly killing it off. It had to disengage into the town. Might even get got there. Yeah, goes down here in the end. And Edbay even moving the northern units a bit so that they might just push through the center. I like that Tanner brings around units from the north as well, realizing that he doesn't get pushed there, so his Milan 2s come down south. Will try to help out winning these tank fights as T-72s as reinforcements here on the way for Edbay, and they can eat the Leo 1s if they can get in range, so Tanner needs those anti-tank units here for sure. Whilst his infantry gets cleared out of the town, Pionierführer goes down immediately as well. Transportpanzer Fuchs Milan goes down there before it can unload as well, and that is a bit annoying here for Tanner. Like, the position of Edbe here is quite solid. Finally will lose a T-55 though, and his reinforcements coming in a bit slow, but he is about to capture the zone, and with that is about to get a +2 take online.
Yeah, the Leopard 1s here are being microed decently well enough, but I think they got mass smoked. All of them fired smokes at the same time, which is a big mistake. Smoke is very supply intensive, so you can't just spam them immediately. They're almost half of your supply truck worth.
T-55A here, bullying the Pioneer Flam that don't have any AT weapons, even though it's down to 1 hit point, but the Jägeraufklärer there next to it are pretty stressed out, so they don't have great accuracy either. And Su-22 Rocket here coming in, just bullying Milan 2s out in the open, getting 1 killed. Might die to the Gepards and the Zwillinge. Zwillinge in the north, getting a bit more damage in. Oh, barely getting out alive, as the F4F gets pushed back as well, and yeah, Edbay has the town. Edbay about to get ahead on points, and Tanner will need to get away and back into this town. Milan Toon about to go down, at least gets 1 hit into the T-72 before dying, but this situation is still not a great one for Tanner. You don't want to be outside of the town besieging it. You want to be having a foothold in the town, fighting inside of it.
Yeah, the Leopard 2 has now been repaired fully and is going out there to challenge the T-72s. The Milan 2 line has been keeping the enemy busy well enough, but now comes the actual decisive battle here. Leopard 1s are moving in also to support. Now, with a few core kills here, if the Leopard 2 can just freely fire like 4 shots and take out some BRMs and stun down the T-72s, this could actually work out well. Leopard 2 getting hits, not getting stunned down here, but targeted immediately by a lot of missiles, all of them managing to get a stun out here. And the recon shitbox is once again moving in close, provides smoke, but I don't think it actually has the smoke loaded right now.
T-55AS and T-55M moving back, Fuchs Milan goes down in the open field. 2 Leos dying. The T-72s did survive. It was a bit of a misfocus by Edbay in my eyes. He should have focused the Leo 1A1s a bit earlier, firing a lot of shots into the Leo 2A4, which he does not deal much damage against, and should have shot down the other units around it and stunned the Leo just with the Malyutkas. But still, in the end, I think Edbay came out on top on the trade in the open, but it allowed Tanner, importantly, to get back into a town with enough infantry to now have a foothold in it. And Edbay is slightly ahead in points, but it is not by enough of a margin to really feel comfortable about anything. So Edbay needs to be staying in this town here for a while longer. And now his infantry trade's most likely going to go south. His reinforcement infantry is still a long way out. And he brings in more T-72s and stuff, but it's not going to go well in this town here right now.
Yet, Protoss, there is a hard counter to the sort of defensive mech play that Edbay is doing right now, putting all of their units close to each other in a forest to hold a long front line. And that is counterable by multi-launching rocket cluster rocket artillery. And the Mars is actually getting really close here. Does the Mars still have such a big minimum range that it actually can't fire this close? Or can you micro it and fire a few shots at this range? Because if you can, that would be insane.
I believe its minimum range is too big to actually shoot at this range. I think Tanner just forgot about it. We will see it moving back in a second. And but until then, it is in a pretty decent spot here. And that is important. And yeah, the mittlere Artillerie-Raketensystem here is on the battlefield, whilst the BMP wants trying to get still some value here from the north. T-72s finally getting repaired, and the infantry of Edbay somehow is still alive. Tanner didn't hunt it down, so they could get brought up back to strength, and the infantry of the Polish is slightly better than the infantry of the Germans. So if the Germans don't take out the infantry while they can, they will lose the fight in the long run. But they're finally pushing it now. They need to get some kills and finishing off the infantry squads here.
Yeah, the Polish weakness, which is their infantry AT weapons, means that Fuchs Milans and the Marder Milan here and play a little bit riskier than you would do it in standardly. That is exactly the right choice. Moving the force to flank south and southeast of the town is the right choice here to apply pressure. You want to attack where your enemy is not where your enemy is directly pointing all of their Malyutka missile launchers at. The Malyutkas don't do enough penetration to hurt the bigger leopards, but they can hurt the smaller leopards. And actually, Protoss, you're wrong. This is we're seeing close-range cluster artillery happening right now.
Did they change the minimum range of the Mars, or was it always so much closer than what the other rocket launchers can do? This is interesting.
No, it wasn't always. I personally remember quitting using this unit because you could not fire it at close range.
I'm pretty sure the Eurogun still has its long minimum range, so this is interesting. Volk here coming around, trying to get some kills. Pushing around with a lot of firepower, but yeah, the Mars here coming in with some annoyance. It doesn't really get the hits yet, as T-72s started to just decide to not repair anymore and just keep moving, but that's obviously something you can punish later on as well. But for now, the T-72 Wrecking Ball actually killed off a lot of forces there of Tanner. And the T-72 55 AS gets even more infantry cleared up. And yeah, it's the poor Tino actually doing more work than the Mars on the other side, and that's pretty annoying for Tanner here.
Oh, the AS getting those units out here means that Tanner's attack is going to have to happen on the open ground against the T-72s. Taking that infantry out means that the basically Edbay is free to have infantry in these buildings, and if the infantry is in the buildings, they can spot any of the West German armor attacks that are going to happen, which in turn allows for better microing of the defenses. So Tanner is going to have to sit here for a moment, wait for the Panzer Grenadiers to disembark, and then try to keep up the pressure. Now, tube artillery and even more Sicherungs units are being bought here. Another 3 Marder Marder Milans with Panzer Grenadiers as well. So this is obviously the invest. The no new Leopard 2s, which I think is the right choice. You want to
Oh
you
no!
don't want to invest too
Oh
heavily in
no!
this.
Oh, it gets all the kills! Oh, so close. If one more salvo would have landed on target, the C-72s would have all died there. Two of them went
And they
down.
do.
One of them is pretty low. Mars really pushing them back. And we have the big follow-up now in the south with Jaguars and a lot of Martyrs trying to get the better of the south. Mars shooting now towards the BRDM. Doesn't quite find the hit there. But yeah, interesting that the Mars has such a short minimum range, whilst the Eurogun still has 7,000 meters. The Smirch still has a lot of minimum range. And the Smirch actually still having 10k minimum range. So Mars really in a better spot than those.
Ooh, the Feldhaubitze almost getting a kill on with the Jaguar 2 getting a kill on the leader. Now that was a big one. The Fernspur moving south of town coincided with the Marder Milans getting in here and allowing to get them to get a position. The Jaguars imposing fire control against the tanks on the southern side of the town is huge here, because these tree lines allow the Jaguars with the mediocre stealth to hold still, and their TOW2 missiles are enough to destroy every single tank if necessary. So the Fernspur Jaguar 2 combo here is massive. The Marder Milan is providing the HE fire support. And now with the three more Panzer Grenadiers, 2 more Seeker Rooms, actually trying to get the entry point. Controlling a town means controlling its entry point. If you're going into a town and you don't know what to do, look at the reinforcement routes and have AT weapons covering those reinforcement routes. That's been your WARNO tutorial for the...
Yeah, MI-24D here helping out quite nicely in the south, but Gephardt finally comes around and pushes it back, and the ATGM's controlling all of this nicely. Edbay a bit paranoid now, always keeps the T-72s moving, doesn't repair them anymore, so, as they're worried about the Mars, and that means that these T-72s will eventually be attrition away. Now we are only down to 2 of them on the battlefield. That's another one that was pretty hurt, goes down. The Danas are on the battlefield, but they have to get a lot of work done here in the town. The T-72S and the Dana together, they can do a lot of work against the infantry fights, but the tank fights are what's going downhill here right now for the Polish. The AS about to fire another good round against some Panzer Grenadiers and Sicherungs, wiping out a good amount more units there. So the infantry fight's still going okay here for the Polish, but they need to get something done about the tank engagements as well.
Yeah, the Polish artillery has been targeting the Leopard 2A4, and the Leopard 2A4 actually, Tanner is microing this unit in an ingenious way, having the recon vehicle right behind it at all times means that even if the Leopard gets stunned, it can immediately smoke and survive. And that has allowed this unit to just keep on acting here in the front line, imposing the threat, forcing the build-up, and threatening to take out any vehicles that are not T-72s with a single shot. And not having to buy any more of those Leopards has given Tanner the ability to keep this Marder spam and this recon front line way better. Like a single Leopard is a big chunk away from this attacking force, so this one Leopard surviving has been huge.
Yeah, getting a kill onto the rocket SU-22 as well, though losing all his mechanized forces in the south. Coop's not getting the F4F, that's a bit unfortunate. Mars is firing now, getting the BRDM in the town killed. And yeah, the infantry fights here for Edbay still doing okay, but the tank fights around it, not amazing. He got a good couple of kills again on the later stages. He gets the Vulks out now, which can deal quite nicely with the Marders. And Tanner maybe taking a couple too many fights with only Marders and without any Leos inside. Maybe should put one Leo into the fights again to just throw off the auto-targeting on the other side. But until then, the Marders still do okay here. And it's about to get back control over the town, and then the question is, it's still 23 minutes left. The point lead here will be nice for Edbay, but how do you defend this for the next 23 minutes? And the answer is you still need to get some kills against some of these blue units. You still need to be in these fights, and this is going to be tough to keep up. There are 5 T-72s again on the battlefield, as they are replaceable, but you still can't just take attrition fights here like this currently.
Yeah, there's in this game, if you have multiple supply units repairing a single unit at the same time, they repair way fast. So having the large numbers of trucks right here in the front for Tanner has really been given the possibility, has given the ability to push up the tempo with the Leopard 2A4. And at this point, Edpe really just needs to micro, just needs to, that is the only saving grace. There are a bunch of tanks here. Some of the tanks are even pretty all right, such as the Wilk. And there's a bunch of artillery out here. And there's also air in the deck, but that really is not relevant because there is just such a big front line of Gepards. And at this point, Edpe needs to stop losing troops and to play perfectly every time. The recon helicopter to give the large spotting advantage is good. The Cube needs to be restocked. Everything really needs to be restocked. There is the Juggernaut has now been
the Leo
unleashed.
2A4 gets side-shotted. It's about to go down. The Edpe is not pushing it. Edpe should have just pushed it. He could have gotten the T-72 there right now. The T-72s are a bit too scared. That is a big misplay. Oh, that could have been so massive. Then he could have just run over everything here. Panzergrenadier is getting caught out now, but one T-72M1 still died in the center here to a Milan 2. So in the end, it's still an okay trade here for Tanner, as his T-72 Leo 2 will most likely survive here without getting gunned down. But oh, that was such a good opportunity here for Edpe to finally get the trade back that he needed to actually stop the momentum of Tanner. Instead, he is the one now maybe overstepping a bit. T-72 still might get some good gunshots here out. Nearly get the Leo 2. It's down to 1 hit point, but so many ATGMs coming in, and he's not target firing it anymore. He's killing off a Milan 2. That's nice and all, but the Leo 2 is so low. And it will survive.
Oh, the Dana. No, the Dana is looking at the different target here. Yeah, now PA 1 helicopters are moving in here. Oh, challenge here with the 2 planes going in is very risky.
Yeah, those would have been T-72s instead. Suiciding 2 planes at this stage is not worth it. That was a panic buy plane investment, and that's not what you want to do at this stage.
Yeah, right now Tanner has already started buying forces to push the town up north and is buying more artillery, more infantry, but I doubt that is even going to be necessary. The real win condition here is just getting a bunch of T-72 kills, and the 5th Panzer is solidly in its Juggernaut phase. The Mars cluster artillery means that the Edpe needs to be constantly playing paranoid, needs to be watching out for any potential Ferspare or Rasit recon lines, needs to constantly be worrying about microing their artillery, otherwise it could be easily taken out by a cluster rocket. And if engagements happen, they need to keep track on how long this engagement has been going on, because their group of tanks could easily be struck.
Malka's getting some really good counter damage done there, though. Not quite getting the Leo 2, but getting everything around it. So Dana's for the first time really striking home there. And Edpe even still trying to get a bit damage done here in the middle. The T-72s are still all damaged. Didn't quite get them repaired, so that's an issue. The town to push, though, with the T-72 has enough counter damage here to potentially make Tanner worry about Edpe getting back into the town, and that could be great. Meanwhile, though, Tanner slowly just advancing in the north, realizing nothing shoots at him there, and Edpe not having any BMP-2s up there right now is a mistake.
Yeah, that PA 1 helicopter landing before take it, the MiG-21 was already on a take it out. That's such a big threat for what Edpe is trying to do here, and Tanner microing away and taking the plane without getting any damage done to the helicopter, that's massive. There needs to be a Shilka or a Strela or something like that before the T-72s can start moving further down south, and even then they will be spotted by multiple different forces. The map control imposition by the Pavan and the first pair is just huge, and the T-72s are currently not doing anything. The attack on the northern town has happened, fronted by pioneers, supported by artillery fire, and behind them large amounts of supply, and with light vehicles and IFVs to bout.
Yeah, AA is still around. The 155mm artillery is a classic Tanner move here, getting it close there as well. The Mars 155 getting the artillery superiority in this game and starting to whittle away on the infantry, and Edbay is lacking support there. Tries to get an Mi-24D around now, but there are some fillings, so you have to be careful. T-72s not repaired and taking the engagement now against fully repaired forces on the other side. Leo 2A4C is routed again, but nothing here really to finish it off, as the T-72s don't push the issue here again. So once more, the Leo 2 doesn't need to be replaced, it just needs to be repaired, and that's once more a mistake here by Edbay in my eyes, as he just needs to get the kill there. Like, after the Leo 2 faults, nothing here can brawl with the T-72s, but he isn't getting the kill, and that means that Tanner can build his whole game around a single tank.
Yeah, it's really like the fact that Tanner has managed to supercharge the scaling abilities of 5th Panzer by playing with a single tank and having support units to smoke that tank like exclusively. That is huge. Like Leopard 2s have such good guns, and the 2A4 has such good armor, and they have such good speed and stabilizers that they are the most microable unit. But the numbers disadvantage means that if they get stunned, they can be killed by anything, and the supporting smoke unit is just a counter. You just don't have to have a second Leopard. Just don't need it, as long as the engagements are going to happen into. So you can keep repairing it and keep putting it back on high cohesion. This really is the solution if you want to get the maximum amount of units on board. This is like insanely well.
Yeah,
it's been the first enjoyable 2 legs game in a really long time.
T-55 AD goes down, infantry pushing through the north, the Mi-24Ds and co still trying to hold on, but the Marder is about to break through, and yeah, without the T-72 dying, Tanner can keep on staying alive in the south, and that's the issue here. If the Leo 2 would have died, the T-72s really could have just taken the brawling fight. There are no TOW 2s in this fight here, outside of the Jaguars, and those would have been relatively easy to push there as well. But instead, the T-72s still have to worry about that Leo 2 every single time, whilst Tanner could divest his forces and get some units into the north, and now set up pressure into a point where Edbay really doesn't want him to be. Edbay getting the reinforcements in there now. It still is not over here for Edbay. He has the Danas that do get good work. He finally repaired a good amount of his T-72s back up and has an interesting flank pushing through the south here now again, where Tanner lost a couple too many units too easily. But the northern part is scary, and Edbay can't allow to lose his foothold into his town.
Yeah, the fact that there is still a number of T-72s out here in the relative reserve that can engage if something is spotted is big, but the existence of the PA-1 helicopters is such a threat here for 55 points, and now 3 PA-1s getting ordered. There is a Shilka which can deal with them if they're getting fighting range, but just the existence of them, as well as the Marder Milans, as well as the Fuchs Milans, as well as the Jaguars, there are so many things that can trap them that every push forwards kind of needs to be a big push. Otherwise, you risk getting taken out fast. Now, the Shilka on low veterancy is firing against the PA-1, but the PA-1 is retreating, and fighting up top here will be the artillery. If it gets targeted by Tanner, I think can win this fight up north pretty fast. A lot of units are concentrated in a very small area, and there are enough mech support or outside of the town to win this for Tanner, as long as this infantry gets taken care of.
Well, there is the T-72 blob now that moved and rotated to the north, though. And Tanner's forces are still stuck in the south, trying to react to the small force of Edbe's forces, keeping his attention in the south. And Edbe knows he can't get the win there, but Edbe, with the T-72s now in the north, could maybe get a push between the two zones, between Lima and Zulu, and get some damage done with that. MiG-21 AAs, by the way, completely useless here. Those investments are terrible. Edbe should stop doing that. More T-72s would just be better. But yeah, and more Shilkas with that. Just Shilka T-72s. You don't need to go into the air here. That's not where you win this fight. But the T-72s have arrived now in the north. They should get into action though. They are just standing still right now. This is a major mistake, as the forces of Tanner are busy in the south. You now can get a numerical and quality advantage in the north again as Edbe and get the trades going on that you need to keep that town clear again. But he's not getting it there. And that's just such a wasted potential right now. What is he doing? Why are those tanks standing still, Edbe? Please get them moving again.
I think the problem is in the fact that there are two Milan twos in the front line, and Etpe doesn't know precisely where those are, but he knows that they are somewhere. So he's only going to move the tanks in a maximum kind of defensive and careful formation. The Kub is out of missiles, so there is no anti-air up top right now. So any plane could actually start getting AT or cluster damage to them. And now a Dana opens fire at long range against this southwestern position. But really, there are 1, 2 Jaguars, 3 Jaguars in just this one corner. There's a Racine, there's 3 more Hot 2s, 4 more Hot 2s. Like, you gotta get out of them. Like, you gotta move the tanks, you gotta start attacking soon. And okay, now up north, the tanks have moved into a more offensive position. They are meeting the Milan 2, which is taking out the BMP-1 recon unit. And now that there is information on this, the Danas are almost out of ammo, and they are not responding into the Milan. The Milan takes another shot right at the side armor of a Wilk.
Yeah, the second Milan was able to arrive in that time. Like, he just took too long. Like, Tanner was vulnerable there. Tanner only had one Milan, and I don't think it was Edbe being scared or anything. It was just Edbe not having the micro and being too busy being elsewhere. But that was the spot to hit. He now gets the southern point again as he killed off the CV of Tanner there. So he will get a bit of respite here point-wise for a while until Tanner gets a CV in here. And it's only 10 minutes, and he still has a small lead in points, but he needs to get the north cleared, otherwise all of this doesn't matter, and he is not getting the north cleared right now. Leo 2A3 might even kill his T-55 there in a second, and that would be pretty bad. Yeah, Leo 2 is pretty stressed out. BMP-2's doing a decent job, but T-55, 72 Wilks all went down, and yeah, the Mars doing the job, and sure, this town in the south currently +1
out here. Huge damage done by the Mars down southeast. When I believe Etpe also what was happening there. Yeah, now the Tanner's infantry is pushing back, and there is nothing left for Etpe. Needs to do a full-on retreat, and if Tanner wants to exploit this, he could just right-click right up to X-ray, and there would be nothing to prevent it.
Yeah, the Leo 2s here now too powerful. T-72 is stuck there as well, as the BO-105 got to it. As, yeah, these MiG-21's investments were just terrible. MiG-21's BO-105s never are effective. Never try to dive a helicopter that is cheaper than 100 points. It's never worth the risk. And that's what he tried to do here, and he should have just invested into Shilka or Iglas. That would have been a way better investment. And the northern play was... It was set up so well, but he didn't execute it. And he now just gets punished for it. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a good strategy if you don't get the timing right. And Tanner just with the better micro here now. It's not even a lot of micro. Like, Tanner's an old man. He doesn't have the Skivik kind of spam ability in him anymore, but he is an old RTS veteran, so the baseline is still good, and his APMs are used effectively, and that's just enough here to outplay Edbe just by getting him busy, and Edbe never quite following through. Always a bit too scared to follow through, maybe a bit too scared because he felt he wasn't quite keeping up with all the timings, but if you'd never take risks against 5th Panzer, you're never gonna win against 5th Panzer, because if there's a tank that profits from you not trying to hunt it down, it's the Leo 2.
Look at the Mars aiming. There's BM. Absolute disgrace.
F4F getting
Yeah,
out there.
but yeah, so I mean, Mars existing against a T-72 division just inherently puts a lot of stress on you. You get, like I said, you have to keep way more tabs about things. You have to concentrate a lot more, and you have to keep on microing these quite slow units, these T-72s. And after the very large fights were won basically by the fact that Tanner was able to keep the one Leopard 2 alive and build out all the support to actually capture the town at Oscar, and that the massed T-72s were countered by the existence of the Mars was maybe made Etpe think that they had invested into a bad build and from now on had to play very carefully, when that is of course not the answer. You need, when you have the tanks are offensive units. They need to be used in some kind of offense. And yeah, I think you're correct. They just got outplayed in the end. Tanner was had a really good showing. Did not play standard, but instead played quite innovatively and obviously in a way that fits exactly this one zone, the Oscar position, having that one Leopard be able to keep out the fight against the whole Polish formation, and thus being like a force multiplier in that you can keep buying the rest of the force. You don't need to keep replacing the Leopard, and not trying to win a mechanized victory against the Poles. Instead, recognizing that the capturing the town was the way to go. With infantry, of course. And yeah, Tanner making a series of good decisions, and good decisions that frankly just outplayed their opponent, much like in the last game.
Yeah, Mars coming along here, trying to get some kills, get the kill onto Cup, and yeah, there's just nothing left here for Edbe at this stage. Edbe, yeah, the T-72 is an aggressive tank. That's what doctrinal wise is designed to do. It even gets the bonus of having a better retreat in WARNO, but that might have been the mistake here, giving it to Edbe, because Edbe moved it out of positions where he should have just pushed on and murdered stuff. And yep, just play to what the T-72 is about to do, and that's being in the face and not letting a Leo 2 disengage and run away and just keep chasing it down. And he didn't do that in the moments where he desperately needed to do it, and that allowed Tanner to just get really the absolute amazing force onto the battlefield here, and by now just completely running over our boy in red here. Edbe playing a fantastic season, but Tanner just being one level too high here. And Tanner on the way to the semifinal and absolutely deserved. The tester, the gatekeeper for Division 1, working once more here, keeping Edbe out at least for one more season. And I still hope we will see Edbe next season. I like Edbe's armored playstyle. They just need to refine it a slight bit more.
Yeah, I think the repeated buying of MiG, as you mentioned, was also of not really knowing what to do in front of this. The 5 Gepards that Tanner could buy because they did not have to buy more Leopards was just an immediate hard counter. And the fact that those things were still bought even after the Gepards revealed themselves kind of speaks to getting fully counterplayed to the point where you don't even know what to do. Try to keep up the known and safe tactic.
Yeah,
But yeah, this
GG
was excellent games here and a massive KDR for Tanner.
Yeah, there was just a point where it all fell apart for Edbe, and that's it's hard how Leopard 2s can just snowball in the end. Like, this isn't quite representative of how Edbe did this game. Like, it was a pretty good struggle for a long while, but the moments where he needed to punish Tanner, he didn't, and then the 5th Panzer's late game is just too phenomenal at the moment. It's an S tier division on a map like this, and one of the best divisions out there for sure right now, and that means we have a semifinal, and I'm really excited for the upper half here, as we have the up-and-coming guy with Jeremy here versus the gatekeeper in Tanner, and then down the south the same thing, the gatekeeper being Maddie here, though obviously it's a lot different. Like both Tanner and Maddie have interesting takes on strategy, but Tanner usually tries to play it a lot more methodically, but Maddie just tries to go for the chaos. And I think that's nice against Bendover as well, because he's a bit of a wild player as well. So Maddie versus Bendover should be quite fun as well. And I'm looking forward to see if we will get an all-new final, or if it will be the old guard moving through. No matter which one is happening, I'm absolutely here for it. And yeah, this season is playing out exactly like I hoped. I couldn't have hoped for a better semifinal, really.
Yeah, if you look at the kill feed, just the Mars and the Leopard 2 Anton, these were the two units that got these gigantic kill counts. And fun little fact, because the Leopard 2 A4C is after the Mars in the kill feed, this means that the Leopard 2, while it was holding the front line, did not achieve a single kill until the Mars was on board and firing. So the tank was kept up there and was kept alive and was refueled, and still it was constantly the underdog. It did not manage to get killed.
Yeah. On the other side, the Wilks did really well as well. One of them taking out 4 Jaguars. So, as I said, like the Wilks, they had a couple of moments where they could have achieved even more. And if that Leo 2 would have been stopped from doing what it did, like the T55, T72 connection there could have done maybe a bit more. But yeah, the combined arms play here just phenomenal on Tanner's side, and just in the end dismantling FB in style. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what we will get out of this in the semifinal. If Jeremy can get the solution for this, or if he will fall to the super down-to-earth playstyle of Tanner, and that just finds a new way of making you feel uncomfortable. So yeah, this is it here for today, guys. Thanks for watching. We're gonna come back at Thursday with some more casts there. And yeah, see you all there, guys. It has been amazing.
Meanwhile, fight the government. Have a nice day.
Yeah, we're gonna send you over to Mr. Bacoen. WARNO General, Army General going on over there. That's fantastic news. We are so back into left hook, guys. It has been amazing to watch.
Snowwolfie is playing ranked Snowwolfie, if you want to give them also link them.
Snowwolfie.
They are excellent. One of the most fun players to cast in the league so far. One of the more Medi-like players as well.